It's just a little bit glossy, but it's all right. No, don't. What about if we tip it down so that it's not shining right? Hello, everyone. Woo! It's doing its weird focusing thing.
I don't know if I need it.
Let's see. Better without? Oh, that's better. Yeah.
We don't need the light. Hello, guys. You beat us.
Definitely long time no see. Glad we were able to catch your live as well, Creekside.
Mm-hmm.
It's always great to catch up with people, especially this time of year, I think.
Yeah, the end of the year is coming really, really fast, it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really fast.
Oh, that's life. Everything moves at a faster pace now.
Also very true.
But we're getting into a bit of the holiday spirit, as you can see behind. We've got our tree up.
We changed the background.
Yeah, we're not in the scary, nasty, incomplete studio room, office room.
Drywall.
I know, but it's just not finished. And it's been that way for a long time. But that is, fingers crossed, hopefully a goal for over the holidays. So
Merry Christmas to you guys too, Jess and Lisa. And thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's fun. Hello, Eldan, and hello, Billy Lee.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Hope you're both well and having a good Tuesday evening.
I'll say this right now because we're a little bit behind on getting back to people's comments. So we will be, but I don't think we've gotten to some of the ones that you've left, Billy Lee. So we'll... Whoa.
I don't know what that was.
That automatic focus that I don't know how to turn off.
Hello, honey badgers.
Hello.
Long time no see for you as well. I don't know what our camera's doing. I apologize.
It's trying to focus.
I think it's because it's dark. But it looks nicer when it's dark.
Better.
If we come closer.
There we go. There, we sit right there.
If we sit really close to the camera, it doesn't do its auto-focusing blurry thingy. Hello, Urban Homesteading. Glad you could make it. And on time. Nice. I like it.
Hopefully everybody...
Oh, it's still doing it.
Just because you moved.
You have to stay super still with this camera, apparently.
In those lighting, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, at least everybody can hear us this time.
Hey, Dusty and Chelsea, how are you?
Technical difficulties.
No technical difficulties on, or at least I hope everybody can see and hear us. We're just noticing that in the different lighting up here, the camera is getting very blurry or doing its weird focus thing. Being closer to it seems to help though, but now I feel like I'm a big head.
I think if you could probably be as far back as I am and still be fine.
Well, you're holding yourself as still as a statue.
Well, no, but if I go back further.
Just proof miracles exist. Oh, goodness.
Excellent to hear that the audio and video is working.
Yes. Oh, but I hope everybody is kind of prepared for holiday season. Warm hat on there, yeah. Well, I told him that's commitment because when he puts the hat on, when it gets hot in about 45 minutes, he won't be able to take that off because there's going to be some serious hat head.
I can still take it off.
Oh, it'll be serious hat head. But that's wool from our sheep. I've been kind of playing around with making different crocheted items. So Chris is the tester of a new hat.
You made me a hat.
I made you a hat. Well, I didn't actually specifically make it for you. I just made a hat.
You made a hat and
you claimed it. Hello, Living a Rogue Life. How are you tonight?
Hopefully well.
14 dozen cookies. We know where we're heading. Holy cow. Everybody's making cookies.
We don't have any cookies, but we have fudge.
We did make fudge, yes.
And we have more to come.
Yes, we decided to do fudge this year instead of cookies. I never made fudge before, and it's super easy, so I'm loving it.
Honey Badger says they could hear us after we peeled off the. That was hilarious.
I can't believe we did 2 lives with that plastic thing over the front of our camera.
Oh, we're blurry again.
We got to figure out how to shut off this autofocus thing.
Maybe it'll come back. Can it come back?
Nope. I'm blurry again. It's focusing on you. Needs-
There
oh,
we
there
go.
you go.
I just can't move. So,
hey, Cindy Squirrel, how are
hello.
you? At least the first like 10 minutes of our thing will be comical with us going like,
you can move, I can't move. For some reason, it's focusing on my face.
What happens when you move?
I'm not doing it. It'll go out of focus.
Oh, well. Anyways, so Bev didn't make any fudge, but did make 5 dozen peanut butter balls. I watched your video on the peanut butter balls, and that's something I want to make. I'm not sure if they'll work, though. We use natural peanut butter, and I'm not sure it'll work. Our fudge didn't turn out great with the natural peanut butter, but it's still tasty, but it didn't set well. So I don't know if peanut butter balls would have the same problem where they don't set great.
Peanut butter chocolate chip cookies do sound good.
Yeah. Anything peanut butter. I mean, it's so terrible for kids now that they don't, they can't take their peanut butter stuff to school. So then they end up not getting it.
But it also makes sense why.
Oh, it does. It totally makes sense. But
catch-22s.
It's one of those things we never make them anymore because, well, the kids can't take it to school, so we don't make it.
I was going to go back to the story, but for those who don't know, so we bought a new webcam, a month or two ago? I forget.
Yeah,
not that long ago, but it had a plastic cover of it over it. So
it's a protective thing for the screen because it's all glass.
So I figured I'd leave it on, and well, apparently the microphone's underneath there. So I guess for 3 or 4 lives in a row, I think it was, wasn't it? Everybody couldn't hear us. It was muffled, and so during one of the lives,
I noticed there was a little flappy piece on it, and I was like, well,
to peel it off, and it was like apparently it was like night and day.
Yep. We were now able to be heard. So, oh, honey badgers, you made a cat bed as well, like knit or crocheted it. That's interesting. I've never thought about doing cat bed.
Our cats would love it.
Oh,
we were talking about, you said you wanted to make an Afghan with the Icelandic fleece, and I'm like, the cats would never ever get off of it.
I know.
Be like the warmest thing ever. Hello, Crucy. Like a dozen cookie collabs going on YouTube. Yeah, I have noticed that. That's the one downside to this time of year is you want to make all the cookies and the fudges and everything else, and then you end up eating it. I know. You give away a lot, but you still end up eating a lot.
Well, we had the fudge. The intention was to make it for some gifts and things like that at Christmas time, and
we've eaten half.
Basically, we sat and ate tons of it. So I said, I'm not making any more until Wednesday of next week because now that I've done it, I know that it just needs 24 hours to sit and it'll be good to go. So no more fudge is being made until Wednesday, and that'll be it.
And we'll be able to.
But I did, the peanut butter one was good, and then the kids made a white chocolate mint with candy cane pieces in it, which was really quite good. And then we did dark chocolate and sea salt. That was, that's the one that's disappearing really fast.
Hello from the Ashes Homestead.
Yes, hello. How are you?
Pinewood. I've heard that.
Pinewood, Ontario.
I've heard of that.
Yay, more Ontarians.
Trying to place where in the province Pinewood is. I know I've heard of it. But
I could Google it quick. Where's my phone?
Well, they might tell us.
Okay. We need a little bit of a bigger town near it.
Finger knit. Have you ever looked into that?
No, I've never
heard of it. I don't think I've ever looked into it much.
I think it was something I'd looked into the finger knitting with something out of the twine. Was it the netting for doing the plants to grow up?
Maybe.
Might have been, but yeah. Near Thunder Bay. Okay. 5 hours west of Thunder Bay.
Okay.
We went to Rainy River area once. On my way to, we drove to my parents', which is in Manitoba, and we drove through the Rainy River area. Very, very neat. Oh, I'm not going to skip ahead.
Done really well in English. Yeah, that's the thing, because I'm not that I'm like, well, I'm going to say it. We've noticed because of all this food we've grown and stuff all year. Like, I'm not going to say we've been eating healthy, but we've been eating like that stuff. Mm-hmm. So then you get to Christmas and it's like, all the goodies and stuff. Which they don't all have to be, bad for you, but at the same time, it's like, there's so much. There's so many.
It's so much goodies, which we're trying to keep in check. And I have to admit, the one thing that we've been terrible for the last week, maybe week and a half, is we get out and we go Christmas shopping after Chris has done work. We do some stuff in the evenings in town, and then we stop for something to eat. And that's where I've noticed it really. I did say this the
Yeah,
other
'cause
day.
we don't normally eat out very much.
It sits heavy, and I feel like, oh, you could tell that we've not eaten at home, but that's all right. Not the end of the world.
Short term.
It's only a seasonal thing. But thank you for smashing thumbs up. Thank you for suggesting it, Lazy Days. Appreciate that.
Very much.
The Cruci, awesome. A meetup. I'm up for that.
Yeah, so that's on Saturday. We'll be around.
Yeah. We are what, 15 minutes from Brockville? 20 minutes?
Not very far.
Not far. Not far from Brockville.
That, so that could happen.
Yes. So we'll come and crash the exchange, or you can just come here, drive a little bit further.
We'll figure out the details.
Yes.
Because I think
we'll send you. I think it's on Facebook. I'll send you a message.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, Bev, for smashing thumbs up. Appreciate that. The I think we're gonna just touch a little bit on the topic that we put in our thing with the Canadian Seed Challenge. It's not our whole conversation tonight, but I just wanted to touch on it in case anybody watches this later and wants some information. But
I'm gonna pause for a moment.
Okay.
From the Ashes off-grid homestead.
Oh my goodness!
I'm actually from Athens.
Yes, Chris's family still lives in Athens.
Yep. So we're very.
Oh, what a small world we find on YouTube.
We'll have to pick your brain as to, because Thunder Bay is quite a ways. Sort of how you ended up there.
Mm-hmm.
It is
or how
funny.
they ended up here, one or the other.
Yeah. Right. Either or.
Creamy drinks addiction. Eldan, like promised last week, we are having of course it's not going to focus.
It's focused enough. It's green.
Our little green mint cocktails for tonight.
Looks like the stuff they drink in Star Wars.
Yes.
The blue milk.
I did want to have a second set of drinks mixes all lined up off to the side, but Chris put me in check because it's a Tuesday and it's not quite the holidays yet.
No,
but next
we're not
week,
quite there yet.
Maybe I'll line up a whole bunch of different drinks that we can mix up because as you can see, I'll show you my bottle that is in this drink is now empty. I have to go shopping. Got to go out again into the real world.
Yeah, that's another downside
for
this time
liquor.
Of year. We don't go shopping very much, and then you kind of have to. But right on Charleston Lake. Okay, yeah, that's. I used to live one of the routes halfway between Athens and Charleston Lake, so very, very small world.
Yeah. That's so cool. Hello, Garden State Gardener. Sorry, we just seeing you as you come in now.
And we'll definitely have to check out. Did we watch her Honey Badgers one video yet, or we put it in our list to watch?
No, I watched the Honey Badgers just because we're on the seeds. Honey Badgers did a great video. I think it's going to be the first, and I believe you said 3 videos to come on Canadian seed companies. And it was really interesting because some of them that she went into to show us were already out of stock on a lot of things, which was very interesting. So we added it to our watch later list. Maybe after this, we'll share it in our community tab.
Yeah,
with some stuff about the Canadian Seed Challenge, because it's very helpful for people that there were many companies that she listed on this first video that I'd never heard of.
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet because I was working proper, but I know the couple that you sent us in the one comment I'd never heard of.
That's not very nice. The other one's still got a little bit. See, because it's the 2 of them mixed together. That one's not quite empty yet.
We will put it in context that
I've had those for 2 years.
Or more.
Maybe more, yeah. It's only Christmas.
Pretty much. But that's also cool that From the Ashes, I'm just going to say From the Ashes because you guys have a pretty long long name, but we'll check you guys out too when we're done. Or if somebody wants to put up a link or whatnot. Us and our focusy thing. What was I going to say?
I didn't bring a book up here.
Oh, we don't have the book.
Pass me those little papers over there.
If I move, it'll go out of focus.
I'll go get the papers. Sorry, we need to have a book for notes, and it's down by the other computer. So,
I have one.
Oh, he's got one here. He's finding a book for us.
And I have a pen.
Or okay, that'll work. That'll work better than my marker. Sorry, we weren't full on prepared. Okay. Hello, Tinny Time Posy. I just started this drink. I did. I just started.
It's
Tim, Tiny Tim Posey. And Jane, hello. Sorry, I wanted to go up for 1 second, so bear with me. Okay. Perfect. Writing it down.
That's also interesting that Crucie's been to Barrie, and I've been to Barrie quite a few times for various things, but I've also been to Barrie for the military base, although not for what you would think. I'll leave that there.
Okay, so.
It's a Nanaimo bar.
Timmy's from Arkansas. Very nice. Well, welcome. I don't know if we've seen you before. No. I don't recall it. So and hello, thank you for coming. And little garden on the prairies.
Oh, hello. Well, we're getting quite a few people in here from Canada, which is awesome.
Yes, well, that's because we're supposed to be talking about the Canadian Seed Challenge. So anyways,
focus? Never.
We don't focus well. And our camera apparently doesn't focus either, which is really distracting. But one thing that I wanted to quickly just kind of say about the Canadian Seed Challenge was that we did change it up this year. And there's a couple reasons for that. The one was we want it to grow big, and we can't be the center of organizing mail outs and keeping everybody's details, that sort of stuff. It just wasn't going to work for us. But
so that's where we got the idea, because
of making it
pretty much Christmas.
Yes.
And time for giving to everybody do the wish list, because something we got some feedback from a few people too was it all depends on how specific they are about their gardening. Like some people, if you're just starting, want to try all sorts of different things, and other people kind of have most of what they want, but they still might want to try a different kind of this or different kind of that. And with seed saving and all that other stuff, it gets complicated. So then we thought, well, if people put a wish list, it doesn't mean that you're going to receive everything on your wish list, just like real Christmas, but it's out there.
I'm going to end up saying this name wrong, so you might have to give me a spelled out version. But hello, Myron in Alberta, -20. You guys can just keep that. You can
It'll
keep
be here
that.
Eventually.
I know it's coming, but I've really liked. We had today was +2, I think, but the weekend, no. Thursday, we're supposed to be +14, which is just like crazy for the end of December.
And then the following, and then Sunday, it's supposed to be
-14. So we're gonna have some dramatic changes. So, but anyways, I'm bouncing around, staying up with the
phrase that. Oh boy, just lost my thought.
You? No, that's crazy. I'll go back to the seed challenge.
Yes, you go back to the. I got my thought again. To use the phrase that Tony used earlier, how do you like them apples with the up and down weather? See, I knew it was funny.
How do you like? I always say, how do you like those chestnuts?
Yeah, I always say, how do you like them apples?
But anyway, we agree to disagree. So the other thing about the seed challenge, as Chris said, a lot of people were looking for specific things, and what we found was, and we even found it ourselves, we got some stuff that didn't work for us to plant because of other things that we grew, which meant we couldn't save seeds, we couldn't, build on it and reciprocate by having more seeds to send out the next year of that item.
So it's just a way to try to have mega flexibility, basically, right?
And hey, Celtic Roots. And also hey, Northumberland Acres.
And also getting started on homesteading.
Oh, and holy cow. Okay, this is awesome.
But yeah, so we just thought decentralize it, because there's other underlying
Bev, stop bragging about your weather.
Even in Australia, the weather's going up and down.
Yeah, wow.
I'll do a small digression for a minute, and then we'll come back to seeds. But the weather part, where my one friend Miles, he comes in, he might come in later. He actually looked at some of his local weather data and did some number crunching, and I'm going to probably butcher this a little bit because I didn't do the number crunching, but it was like a 1 degree temperature change over, like if you average it for the whole year over, was it 80 years of day?
Yep.
Yeah. But so it doesn't sound like much, but what was interesting was when you looked at it by season, so the shoulder season of spring and fall, there was a substantial difference. So when you average it out over the whole year, it kind of was not much, but when you put it into those seasons, it was a big difference.
Yeah.
Which I think this is everybody's starting to see it.
Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It looks like everybody around
the extremes in spring and fall are just crazy. One thing I just wanted to say to everybody, and we are perfectly fine with, I don't know how many moderators we actually have in here, but if anybody wants to share links, that's great. Creekside Maples. So if you haven't subscribed to their new channel, be sure to do so. Another great Canadian channel. I'm hoping he's going to put out a little seed video because I'm sure you could use some seeds for next year's garden. But anyways, just wanted to put that kind of plug in there quickly before it disappeared and I forgot, because that's how we're working today. You good? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to point out with the Canadian Seed Challenge, by doing it this way and allowing people to ask for things, what we kind of thought was that allows people, if there's something that you can't find or you're having trouble finding, that's a great way to put it out there. Like maybe you're looking for some unique, rare thing or something that
is just not in stock anymore because everybody's bought it.
Like we found that with the sugar beets, and luckily me and New Acres isn't in here tonight, but Angie did find some and let us know about that, which was awesome because we were having trouble finding sugar beet seeds.
And the other one was the Cherokee Trail of Tear pole bean that we want to try. Was another one that, so it was kind of that thing of trying to decentralize it.
Sorry.
Because I think that's the underlying tone of seeds should be kind of accessible to everybody because it's kind of like the basic building blocks of growing your own food. Mm-hmm. Really, even when you get into animal type stuff, you still need seeds to do that. But that's interesting that getting started on homesteading, the stuff in Kentucky is just insane.
Crazy,
and it's not, we're jumping a ton here, but it's unique because of the magnitude of what, and the fact that it was tornadoes, but it's also,
no worries, Kathy, don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, don't worry at all.
Honey badgers, you've got it in there, Amanda, thank you.
But like those kind of mega weather, I'm going to say it, and it's going to sound insensitive because I'm looking at this not from what it's done, but what it was. It's like a mega anomaly weather system, right? Which is the same as what we've seen with the fires and the flooding and everything else. And it's like that there you go. The fires weren't in the shoulder seasons, but the flooding and the windstorms and the tornadoes, like it's all in that time of year where it's, and the devastation it causes is insane.
Yeah. We were saying, was that even just this morning we were talking about that? But
we've been
talking about it since this all started, when we started hearing about the tornadoes, but was the fact of when ever has there been a time where we have sat down, and I'm just talking in North America, that multiple cities have disappeared. In a year.
Major,
whether it was they burnt, they flooded,
but it's not just
destroyed.
It's not just North
America.
Oh,
but I'm just saying our news tends to focus on the North American situations. But I'm just saying what's going on in the rest of the world, I don't know. But it's scary. If that much is happening just here, it's happening everywhere else too.
And that's why growing your own food and
having a sustainable seed source that is a network that everybody can participate in is awesome, right?
Yes.
Hello, Scott, Rambling with the Brums, and Brampton Gardner. Hello. So that was one thing that I wanted to bring up was in your video, if there's something you're looking for, definitely post it. And another thing that I wanted to kind of build on this, yet we're not leaving it loose-ended. Am I allowed to? I'm going to say it because I think it's important. Is that, let's say come March, right? We put a deadline for the big kind of giveaway type, everybody participating. We said, can you get your videos out by January 7th? Because that allows us to Send seeds. And also
it gives everybody time.
Yeah, because everybody only has so many seeds. So it'd be nice for everybody to kind of get their videos out in that couple week period so that people who have bountiful seed stashes don't give them all away, and then somebody comes in end of January and says, oh, can I be part of it, and everybody's given everything away. That's kind of one of the things with putting a deadline. But the nice thing is you're building a community, a hashtag, something for people to look for, that if come March when you go to buy that whatever and you can't find it in the store, you can't buy that lettuce that you normally buy, you could do a video and it'll still be found. People will still be looking, we'll still be putting it in playlists. So if for some reason something is not available later in the year when you're looking for it, you can post a video and we can all be aware of it, and hopefully somebody can help you out.
Hopefully it keeps going.
Exactly.
And we didn't really talk about it much, so that's the first part. I don't know if
prep. Yes,
exactly. I think on that, the prepping, you're right. You never know, except you know that it's going to change, and that is probably the hardest thing to prep for, because you actually don't know what's coming.
Yeah,
it could be a tornado, it could be a flood, it could be
just crazy,
a drought, it could be makes it really hard. You need to be super resilient. That's and anything you grow also needs to be super resilient.
Yeah.
But we didn't really say about it for the first part of it too. But last year with the 2021 Canadian Seed Challenge, one thing that we encouraged was that people kind of share their progress with the seeds that they got over the year. And so we're kind of hoping, because last year, because
Bluegrass Bound, how are you?
Hello. Last year, because it was still a big group, but a smaller group. It was more manageable for it kind of to be centralized. People kind of got a mix of things, right? But then, like we said, not everybody was able to grow everything. So we're kind of hoping that if people ask for something and somebody can find that for them or has it, whatever, then we want to see how they do with it throughout the next part of the year, right?
Yeah.
Like, how did it grow? How well did it produce for you? Did you like it? Did it live up to your expectations, etc.? Because I think that's what makes it exciting too, right? Because these are plants that people are looking for. So it's, I don't know, it's like finding that thing where it's like, hey, now I finally have it and I'm excited about it, and then share it, because then that's all part of the. So it's kind of one of those, it's a bit of a misnomer. There's no quote unquote challenge to it. It's more of a,
well, the challenge is getting the seeds out, spreading the wealth, spreading the
yeah, that's true.
That's the challenge. Basically, we're trying to make seeds accessible to people in Canada,
and hopefully rinsing and repeating, right? Because once you get the seeds out, then once you learn the skills to keep the seeds from those things, then you can share those things with other people. And it's like us. I'm going to say it. We received our Canada crookneck squash, and I'm going to come back to the chat in a second, but we received our Canada crookneck squash seeds last year from one squash that we got to try eating, which was grown in a manner that we could save the seeds from. So we saved the seeds. We had more than we could possibly plant. We planted more than we possibly needed. And now we have thousands and thousands of seeds.
So if anybody needs Canada crookneck seeds,
but it's a good example of the passing it forward, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably something we didn't quite get out in the initial video super well, but that's the whole point, is passing it forward.
Well, and that's why we're doing these little live things, and we'll do a few update videos as we kind of tweak it and hear from other people. But one of the things I wanted to come back to further up, Brampton Gardner asked, how many seeds are we, wanting people to exchange, swap, whatever? And I think the one thing I have a planned response, so shh.
I'll be quiet.
The one thing is that we wanted this to be open to everybody, even people who have never gardened before and they want to start gardening. Therefore, they can just put a video out saying, maybe I just want a starter pack. I just want the basics. I just want whatever. You do not have to send anything. You could just be on the receiving end. That's the beauty of this season and the giving. You give what you can give,
with the hope that it is a kind of a paying it forward type thing, right? Because if you're starting from nothing, then you're getting a great gift from people who have something to share. So hopefully when 2023 comes along,
there'll be more people with seeds and more people to participate and share.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we're hoping for, the exponential growth. So that
Yeah.
goes like
So
way
that
beyond
there's
us.
just basically a little seed hub. Now, the one thing I would recommend, and this is something that I'm hoping people will do in their videos, and we weren't necessarily leaving it open because we were after specific things. But if people like to be surprised, then say you like to be surprised. If you are after something, but you love just trying new things, say that, because then people will be like, oh, well, I'll send them more.
It's exactly like a kid's letter to Santa. It's like, here's my wish list of what I would love to have, and then put it out to the
masses,
out to the YouTube world, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd love to see reactions and stuff from people. That whole process when people start receiving things.
So this again is kind of trial and error. We're trying to work it all out, and then there are some people that were involved last year that don't have YouTube channels, and it became sort of hard to keep in touch with everybody on multiple media outlets. So we're really hoping this works. If there's anybody that wants to participate but has not doesn't have a YouTube channel or does not feel comfortable with it, one thing we've said is just video your list. It's as long as you hashtag it, we will find it and put it into
there's so many creative
playlist.
Ways to get involved in this. And I'm seeing quite a few other people, and I'm going to say this because I say it all the time, and I know there are ways to send seeds cross-border. We're keeping it sort of Canadian for simplicity's sake because it's cheaper and easier.
The one thing I will say is it's easier to send seeds from the US to Canada than it is for Canada to the US. So if there are any people in the States that watch these videos and have the seeds and want to attempt to send them, there is nothing saying you can't. And there's nothing saying that people here can't send them to the States. It's just, when we researched it a little bit more, the people on the receiving end in the States are supposed to have paperwork for them.
Yeah, so it just makes it harder.
So it's a little bit more difficult.
It's doable, but it's like a next level thing. But
yeah.
But like I say, I'm glad to see that there's quite a few people on the U.S. side of the border who
are doing them,
who are doing seed swaps and stuff, because I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again. But the one part that I think is important is not just getting the seeds, but learning how to keep it going. Because when we go back to I forget who said it, but about the prepping, like that's what you need to maintain these things, right? Is to be able to propagate them. And I do hope that that's something that you're getting a gift of something from somebody
hey, Drops,
that you can actually keep going.
Well, and that was sort of the whole idea of changing it to this sort of method, was to set up a community, a way for people to find other people that are in Canada and looking for something, because there are shortages sometimes in one place and not in another, or somebody has a huge stash of something that people can't get. So we wanted it to be something that could be built up quite quickly over the holidays, but then be there continuously after that for people that potentially are short come growing season and need some help.
And I don't disagree with what Brampton Gardner is saying. We're just saying you are supposed to do X, Y, and Z. So
yeah, we just didn't want it to get complicated. Yeah. But as we've said, people are more than welcome to send seeds either way. There isn't any rules, so to speak, on this.
For this thing, no.
It's just kind of you're doing so at your own.
We probably should set up a Facebook group for it. That's actually not a bad idea.
Well, Brampton Gardner, you set up a Facebook seed one, but is it just Ontario? I can't remember.
That's not something we've really looked into. We just kind of did the video, put it out there, and it's like, let's see what happens.
Yeah. It's not just, okay. Brampton Gardner's is not just Canadian. It's everywhere. Okay.
Well, and that's the thing, like what Drops is saying. It's nice when you have those seeds, right? And there's resiliency, because if you get those seeds and you learn how to propagate them, that means you can do it indefinitely as a renewable prep.
Yeah.
Which allows you to garden and grow that thing for indefinitely. I don't know. That's a pretty big, profound thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No problem.
Brampton,
Thanks for coming in, getting started on homesteading. We appreciate it.
Brampton Gardner's not a moderator because she could share the Facebook.
Can I make
Do you
her
want
one
to
here?
be a moderator? I was just then you could share the Facebook link.
Make her a moderator.
Chris is making it. You have no choice in the matter. I don't think you can.
I think I can.
Can you do it on? Yeah. Okay.
Moderator.
There you are. Now you can share the link
You just got a blue
for
wrench.
the Facebook. Because people were asking about the Facebook group. Takes 2 years to get seeds out of beets. Yeah, we know that one. We're working at it. We've got a good stash of sugar beets that are going in the garden next year. So fingers crossed we won't have to do this searching for.
That's the plan.
Yeah. So, yeah, Rochelle's excited to be moderator. Way to show that enthusiasm. Our moderators, we're fine with sharing links, things like that, definitely, and it's very, very helpful. We don't tend to have too much rowdiness in, that they have to take care of. But hey, the more blue wrenches, the better. But
yeah, it's.
Hi, Tina Ladybug.
Hello,
how are you tonight?
How are you?
So anyways, I'm not sure if there's anything else at this current moment on the seed challenge. There was no limits to what you could send or what you can receive. You just need to basically ask and see what happens.
Just treat it as a fun thing. Like I said, imagine you're a kid writing a letter to Santa, except you're a gardener asking for the seeds you've always wanted, and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of intended to be a pay it forward type thing. So you may not have a lot to share this year, but next year you might have a lot more to share, and you just kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea, is to just kind of build it and have it be, a thing of like-minded people that are just willing to share.
We're all doing the same thing.
We definitely get it, and this is where we were saying about the getting out your video early, because people don't have a bottomless supply of envelopes and stamps. So but
that's the other thing too. We're kind of intending it to be a very economical thing to do, right? Sending a few seeds to people isn't so bad.
Or if you've got
it's very accessible to the common folk. I'm going to put it that way.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, we don't expect people to send out 20, 30 packages. I mean, it's like last year we sent out seeds to everybody that did the challenge, and it was $50 in stamps, right? Which is fine, but it is one of those things. We don't expect everybody to do that, but it is, if everybody kind of gives a couple, then you're good. And maybe we should have probably put something for a thing at the end of each video for someone, maybe for the author to put in a comment pinned to the top saying that they'd gotten, but we can figure that out.
We'll let it be creative. There's a lot of creative people on
yes
here. So hello, Harvey Black.
Hey, how are you doing tonight?
I'm going to go back up to Thorhaven's. Only rowdy when Darren is drinking.
Well, we decided to drink tonight, but not going to be to the point of crazy rowdiness, though.
And that's I'm glad you're excited to join this year from the ashes.
Yes.
And that sucks about losing your seeds from last year, because we've never lost them all.
Hey, Sweeney Squeak.
But we have had some varieties kind of peter out or what have you.
Well, or we had
a
slight incident where we kept pepper seeds separate and in containers without lids, and they got dumped and all went together. So that was a loss. That was this year.
But we were able to replace some.
We were able to save some from later, but our first batch that we brought in and saved and thought we were done saving seeds, anyways, ended up all mixed together, which meant we had no idea what was what. So
I think because what Brampton Gardner's talking about here is I'm going to read it out, even though most people probably read it. But in regular seed swaps, it's 10 seeds for tomatoes and peppers.
Oh, that's what
larger seeds can be fewer and smaller seeds more. But that's kind of a guideline. I think, but that's for gardening swaps, not farming. I think what I'd like to see, I'm just putting this out there because there's nothing's mandatory with this, because it's all just whatever you can
gardening.
do.
I like that.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it. Realistically, gardening should be communitized. Like it should be. It's a community thing. Even if you're doing it yourself, you're never really doing it in complete isolation, because you're getting varieties and whatnot from other people. But what I was going to say, because I like that approach of like, maybe 10 seeds of this, whatever. I think just think about it for those who are saving their own seeds and are going to participate in that side of it. Think about it like tomatoes, a good example. You don't need a lot of seeds, excuse me, to get a lot to try,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then other things you might need more seeds to get enough to try it. And it might be easier or you might get a lot of seeds out of it. It's like our red Russian kale, like the number of seeds we got out of it was astronomical, right? But it's something where, one or two plants doesn't really give you a great.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like sending tomato seeds. I mean, sending 10 tomato seeds gets somebody a lot of tomatoes to save seeds from and again and try them and whatnot. Like lettuce, we just tend to just grab a pinch and put them in. You probably end up with 20 or 30. The one thing that I think is tough is the beans or peas, that kind of thing, because it's heavier, they're bulkier, but then only receiving a couple sometimes isn't enough. That's one of the things we said about with our rattlesnake beans. Cindy Squirrel was amazing and sent us some, and we're super excited to try them. So we said it'd be nice to actually have a few more. So that was kind of one of the things of trying to get enough to. But
that's just it's thought, whatever, right? Yeah. Because that gives somebody the chance to try the variety and actually use it for if you're collecting bean pods or whatever it is that you're collecting from it.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's just something like one of the things we said this year. I'm going to kind of talk about our video because we've done that already. We said about the beans this year. Really, we're trying beans. We aren't sure what we're going to stick with, what we're not, because there's so many beans out there that we haven't tried. So it may end up being that this is just an opportunity to try some. And once we decide the couple that we want after trying them, you're probably going to purchase more seeds, or you're still going to propagate, but you're essentially trying to grow enough to try them to see if you like them. That's sort of that thing. Same thing with the peppers. I mean, I don't know, and I don't want to grow 30 of them and then have them be not the kind of peppers I was looking for. So it is that sort of, I don't know.
I'm gonna go back up for a second. That's crazy that you lost all your seeds in a house fire.
Yes, so sorry to hear that.
So you're starting from scratch. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I sense some good giving coming your way on seeds. That's for sure.
And then I was going to go to Jane's comment. We haven't cooked anything with the sorghum seeds, but we have used the syrup, and we actually found out the best way right now that we find is you kind of cut it 50-50 with your butter.
Well, and the other thing, the sorghum syrup was too sorghum-y for pancake syrup. It's got a
flavor. It's not bad. It's not a bad flavor.
Homestead,
but it has a flavor.
So I ended up, I usually do like a brown sugar butter syrup, because pancake syrup, because we don't do maple syrup yet. And what I did was I did a half and half, and that was amazing on pancakes.
And it still cuts.
And it cut our bought products down. The other thing that I used it for, which was really, really, really good, was our squash. For dinner we mash up the squash, and I tend to add a little bit of brown sugar. And a pepper is what I put in it, brown sugar and pepper. And we use sorghum syrup instead of brown sugar in the squash, and it was really good. Yeah. Amazing.
So I think we did say in the video, it's just figuring out the best ways to use it. We also are pretty sure you could condense it down to be actually granulated sugar.
Yeah, that was something we only did it to the syrup state, and I think I really want to try and do it to sugar next time.
Yeah, because we'd done that with the sugar beets last year, and we're going to try it again this year. Yeah, a little bit too.
But it works amazing in the pancake syrup, done as a half and half mixture with my brown sugar butter. I don't know what that is. It's just brown sugar syrup and butter and water, basically.
Yeah.
But mixed in half and half saves us, a cup of brown sugar, and it also saved butter.
Mm-hmm. And it was really easy to do, which is the awesome part. I'll come back to that in a minute, but I'm going to go back up here. Bluegrass. I'm a little bit behind, so I apologize there. Oh, I lost it. I was going to.
There you go. Missed.
Bluegrass bound. So what we found when we did the research was you can send seeds across border between Canada and the U.S.
Yeah,
absolutely. but there are some different rules depending on which way it's going. And so that's what we were saying for a very simple, get some seeds out there. It's probably easier for most Canadians to just stay within Canada because your recipient's supposed, I'm going to butcher this, but your recipient is supposed to have certain paperwork. That being said, people do, what do you call it? Send them, but we're just kind of officially saying it's mostly Canada, but
yeah,
there's no rules.
If somebody wants to put out a Canadian seed challenge from the States, a video, who knows what'll show up on your doorstep?
And to be honest, because of we're hoping that this model we're going to is going to work a little different because we'll see. Maybe it grows and people start doing it all over because that would be awesome because then that would be, and then a few people might do the cross-border stuff.
Yes.
But
I wanted to interrupt you for a second to thank Tiny Tim Posey. This is our first, what do you call that? Thank you so much. That is awesome. And it will go towards seed postage, and that's fantastic. But thank you very much.
Got one of those before.
We appreciate it. That's really, really cool. Awesome. So thank you so much for, I guess is that a super chat?
I think that's what they're called.
But anyways, thank you. That's awesome.
We appreciate
everybody in the Canadian Seed Challenge will also appreciate it when their gifts arrive.
When the seeds arrive.
Yes. So I hope to see some videos soon. So I'm going back to your.
I was going to go back to Drops was talking about the pumpkins. I think that's a great example. Like pumpkins or squash, right? One seed hypothetically can give you one plant that can give
Show and tell is going to be all your squash over there today.
Well, but yeah, I can give
I'll show you.
Are you going to grab it? It can give you.
Show and tell's coming early.
It can give you tons of squash, which then those squash give you tons of seeds, which, like you say, gives you more seeds than you'll ever need as far as for replanting, which is awesome.
I don't know if I can get them all in the box.
And yes, I am a huge fan of the winter squash for storage and food value too, because the work involved is so little. Like you plant it and you harvest it and you store it and you cook it. Because we were even talking about that in relation to like potatoes and stuff. You have to dig the trench and dig them out. And
so here comes show and tell.
That is the yellow
crooked neck squash that we saved and let them get old right out in the garden. These weren't intended to be food for us. They were intended to be for seed saving. So this will probably produce thousands of seeds.
More than
we will ever need.
Yep.
But it's better to have too many.
Another one here. Oh, it's gone unfocused. Another one there. But yes, squash is a real powerhouse. And I do think the sorghum has potential. That is something that I think more people, after now having processed it, like gone through the whole process, it was really easy.
Well, but you haven't taken pods off the seeds yet. They're still hanging in the house above our head.
In the past.
Yeah. Made you want pancakes.
That's awesome.
It was really good on French toast as well. Just
it's just one of those things. Like a lot of these varieties are not what you were like accustomed to. It's like we're all accustomed to eating like white sugar, right? Well, white sugar tastes a certain way. Sorghum sugar just tastes a little different. That's all. And the syrup, it tastes a little different. Yeah, maple sugar is awesome. We've never made it. Definitely have had it. That's something we do want to get going here because we do have some maple trees, but that's something we might
down the road.
Well, we might get to it this spring. We'll see.
He's dreaming.
We probably wouldn't.
So dreaming. But we do have a plan. We have like a ridge where there's probably only about 20 maple trees. So it would only be for personal use. But I think we could definitely get enough from that to supplement our sorghum and our sugar beets and whatnot.
Honey badgers, are you saying that you couldn't send them in Canada? It wouldn't let you, or it wouldn't let you send them to the US? Sorry, I wasn't sure there. I'm like way behind. But
you're not that bad.
Well, that's an option, Drops. Like, definitely, we don't want to say that people have to do that, but if people want to, and we're especially thinking for people that are just starting out, right? Because it's kind of a pay it forward thing. It's like for us, like yellow crooked-neck squash. If somebody wants seeds from it, it's easy for us to do that. If somebody else's situation,
but that actually, and that's a good point, because that's a way Americans can also participate, because you can do the.
Oh, she said say seeds from U.S. to Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Harvey Black says it is a super chat.
There we go.
Well, yes. I'm pretty sure they will come this way, and I feel bad for saying that, but
yeah, it's
the other way.
When we looked up the rules at the customs, there really wasn't anything for seeds from the U.S. coming to Canada. They just had to be labeled and properly. You have to state what's in the thingy if you're telling them, I guess. But going to the States, it was a little bit more finicky. You had to have the label, they had to be sealed, and it had to have paperwork that we'd sent to the person receiving them.
And as a few people have said, you can be creative, but we didn't officially tell you that.
Yes, maracas or... But, putting them in an envelope, most of the time, post person doesn't ask. So it would just be a case of whether somebody looked at them at the border, because the people at the post office don't ask. They just take your envelopes. So...
And yeah, I think you've got a great point there too, Drops. It's like squash. If you've got chickens or some other livestock, you can produce a ton of seeds that they'll eat. Mm-hmm. And you've done it for nothing, right? Like squash in general, I think, are one of those plants that if you're okay setting aside the space for it, it will. We're going to do a video on this, but it will produce you so much. I know why some people don't grow it, because you don't have the space, but if you can allocate some of that space, you can produce a lot of food for very little cost.
I have to vacate you for one moment because my cat found her food.
Uh-oh. Getting a cat off the counter. Sorry,
she is eating cat food.
Well, and the funny part with those yellow crookneck squash, we left a couple of them on purpose. And then the others kind of just got away from us, which is fine. We didn't really care.
Away from us?
Well, we didn't really care because we still we can still use the end product, right? So rather than try to eat something that's gone a little bit beyond its edibleness point, because they're not super nice when they're older, just let it go to seed. Make French toast.
French toast is my favorite. Yeah. And especially with homemade fresh bread. I know it's supposed to be older stale bread, but I like it with homemade fresh bread with a real good crust.
Oh, I think we probably missed them, but good night from the Ashes Off-Grid Homestead. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for coming in. Talking about sorghum.
If they are still here, we do go every Tuesday, 8:30.
So I'm going to go to Jane's comment, because I think I'm not too far.
Hi, Miles.
Far behind him.
You're not very far.
But the sorghum. Yeah, we grew it. We originally thought we were just going to be chopping the stalks up for livestock feed, because we're like, it's gone past its point. Because on the outside, it had gone brown and dried. Looked like standing corn in the field that's gone brown and dried. So we cut the heads off. We actually have them hanging up above us.
You can cut one. Here's I've got these ones here.
Yeah, like the seed heads. We just cut them off. And we still have to process them, but they're dry enough now. They'll come out, so be careful when you... Like, that's a few of the seed heads.
Ooh, get to focus.
Focus on my face. Like, that's a little cluster, and we've got, like...
Some of them, I think, are questionable as to whether they're going to have seed heads. We definitely we planted them late, and I think it affected some of them for not developing. You can see these ones, though. The seed heads are nice. Really nice.
There was a couple small ones that didn't come out perfect.
But our little patch gave us 8 clusters like this, which we're going to knock the seeds off and see if we can attempt to make a sorghum flour with a bit of it, and then obviously save a lot for planting again. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing we made was we got, was it 5 cups, 6 cups, it was about 5.5 cups of the syrup, and it was taken down to almost a molasses state. We did a video on the syrup part. I don't know if she saw that video or
Yeah,
not.
we did the syrup part, and then we ended up the rest of the chop. We just fed it mixed in mostly to the sheep. The horses would have eaten it, but I don't know if it would have been too sugary for them.
Yeah,
Probably wouldn't
but
have
the
been
sheep
good.
ate the stalks like.
Yeah, they did really well.
Yeah. But yeah, the chickens would go to town on this sorghum seed. Even if that was all you wanted it for, but we want to try and make something with it.
We think that that's actually a grain you could produce enough to do something with. Like wheat, you can, but it's a lot more labor.
Mm-hmm.
The sorghum was easy. It's the best way I can put it. We'll be talking much more about that.
I was going to say, Living Rogue Life said her chickens won't eat squash or melon. Ours don't eat the squash itself, but they love the seeds.
Yeah, they're not big on the only thing.
Unless it's cooked. If it's cooked, they love it.
They like it a lot better.
But raw, they won't eat it.
But
I usually just cook it in the oven and roast it.
Which is one of those things. If you have a lot of it, more than what you can use in a sitting.
Yeah.
If you're roasting one, it's not usually a big deal to roast 2 or 3 of them, right? So hypothetically, if you have a big enough patch, you could actually cook it and have them eat it better. And we find the rabbits
like
they really
it
like the Canada crookneck squash. They eat it like it's going out of style. So we may actually up the number we grow next year. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Urban Homesteading says her chickens don't eat cabbage or anything leafy like spinach.
Really?
Ours devour. Ours change as soon as it gets cold.
Yeah.
Once it's gotten frosted they devour it.
Yeah.
But they don't touch it all summer for the
as soon as it starts to get cold, the sugars in it must just be wonderful because they're right in there at the kale and everything.
Yeah, and our chickens are exactly like honey badgers. They just can't get enough of the seeds in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, how far did I go? Sorry, we're catching up.
You can pop. Miles is saying you can pop sorghum like popcorn.
I can see that. I can see that.
Might have to try that.
I have a few. Thanks for coming in, Brampton Gardner.
Yes.
Sorry we got ahead of us.
Hopefully we didn't miss you there, but.
And Drops is saying, I think I caught up.
You eat it down to the skin, yeah.
I think it depends. This is a whole nother conversation that we may not go into in great detail, but we've noticed with the rabbits and the chickens in particular, even the geese to a little degree, but there's like a whole cultural thing to it, like a learned behavior. When they, we definitely see it with the rabbits. When the mom teaches the babies to eat a variety of foods, they do that through their whole life. When a mom doesn't teach them to do that, or if you bring in a new rabbit, it's like there's a trial period where sometimes they just
or if you get a rabbit that's born in the middle of winter and there is nothing,
didn't have access to it.
It's really hard to I have one boy that I had one boy that wouldn't even eat carrots. I've never seen a rabbit not eat carrots, but he was born in February and the whole beginning of his life was basically pellets and hay. That was it.
Well, that's another thing about seasonal too, because we don't think about it sometimes in our livestock, but it does affect them depending on what when you're doing it more extensively. But that's another discussion.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with Living a Rogue Life. Sorghum, especially if you get the ones that are higher in the sugar content, like we grow the Mennonite, there are others totally underutilized, because if you think about it, especially if you do have livestock like sheep or goats that would eat it, you're getting 3 products out of one plant. You're getting the grain, which I agree is totally underutilized. It just it's not fashionable for the big producers to do it. Basically, I think is what it is.
Hey, Chris Clevercraft.
I said that. Tongue twister. But you also get the sugar part and you get the fodder. Like that's a plant that's potentially working harder for you than corn. Because corn you get what? Usually, I guess you can do flour, but you can do flour out of sorghum too. So the sorghum's actually more productive than corn is. And I'm going to say it's easier to grow. It wants to grow.
So I was going to say, sorry you didn't find the sling and had to go get another one. Hopefully Mike's going to be feeling better soon. It'll be a good thing to take a little bit of a breather. Although I guess you were hoping, I watched your video there, and I think you were hoping that you were going to be working this week while it was nice weather. So hopefully he doesn't push it.
Yeah, sometimes it's better not to push it.
Yeah.
Than to push it and regret it later.
Exactly. Bluegrass Bound, awesome. We've got some great moderators in here sharing some links. It's awesome.
Yes,
everybody that you've subbed, and not just you, everybody in here, if you've gone and subbed to a few different people, make sure you go back, watch a couple videos so that the sub sticks.
So we don't usually freeze the soup in mason jars, but what we do is for the last little bit, we're not making yogurt. So when we buy yogurt, we keep the containers. They're basically like the big plastic.
You can freeze it in mason jars.
You can.
You can. I usually leave about 2 inches of kind of headspace on them. And if I can store them on their side, I do, because that gives you better room for the product to expand when it does freeze. Mm-hmm. I've done tomato product and stuff in freezer jar.
The one thing not to freeze is yogurt in a glass container. Yogurt does something funny the way it freezes.
Shatters them.
And it shatters the glass. Mm-hmm. No, even if you give it the headspace.
Yeah, but definitely we've done tomato product, apple juice. We've done juice in jars. So I can't see that soup would be a problem. We just use our old saved yogurt containers because we're not making yogurt right now. Mm-hmm. So
I think there are urban homesteadings asking about getting sorghum. I'm sure I've seen it in some seed catalogs. Like I say, the only one that I know of that's a high sugar one, because I haven't done a ton of research into it, is the Mennonite sorghum. But I know there are a few other varieties. It's like a lot of seed companies, I shouldn't say most, a lot of them sell the broom corn, which is still a grain crop, still has some usable whatever, but it hasn't been selected for the higher sugar content. Yeah, our rabbits like anything in the brassica family for sure. They like beets. Ours are getting pretty good at eating just about everything. Mm-hmm. But and yes, millet's another good one.
That's one that we want to try this year. We had a few pieces just grow out in the garden mm-hmm. from the chicken feed, mm-hmm. and I couldn't believe how prolific they were. I mean, one little seed produced so many shoots. It was crazy.
There's so many different kinds of millet, and they all have their own little unique things about them. So we're just sort of getting into learning about actually growing millet. Okay, sandhill preservation for sorghum. That's a good one. Thank you, Miles. Should make you
now. Is that Miles? Is that one that she could get from the U.S. Sandhill preservation? Just curious. We'll have to scroll down to find out your answer. But because I forget where you are, Bev, in the States, but.
Good night, Garden State Gardener.
Yes.
As always, thank you for coming in.
Much appreciated. Have a great night.
Jumped.
Thank you, Harvey Black. And I know Scott at Rambling with the Brums has been sharing a lot of channels, and Honey Badger shared some. Thank you, all of you guys, for...
oh, that's not good.
What's that?
They think Mike tore his rotator cuff. And he's had the surgery on it too, so
yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that's not what happened. Oh, there we go. They already used up all the yogurt containers.
Then you could do it in the mason jars. You just have to make sure you leave that headspace. Mm-hmm. Sweet corn is what you're talking about. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, honey badgers. Ziploc bags is another one. Especially,
same thing.
Especially if you're making something a little creamier, it definitely works well in the Ziploc bag. Just make sure when you unthaw it that you set it in something, because Ziploc bags, once they're frozen, never stay good.
Miles said Sandhill is U.S.
Okay, that is U.S. Okay. So that'd be one for Bev.
I agree with Jane. Amaranth's another good one.
Did we buy the giant amaranth?
We did get the giant golden amaranth. We didn't get it planted last year.
So hopefully the seeds will still be good for this year.
They usually last pretty good.
Yeah.
They are. I've done it. I think Miles has done it quite a few times, actually. They're a little trickier to separate because they're so small. But
yeah, we got the giant one that we wanted to try. So watch this space, because hopefully this year, although we did have some pretty good failures in 2021.
We're going to document that.
Yes, they're coming. They're coming in our year-end video.
I think. Well, they'll probably come in a video on their own.
Well,
failures
sorry, yeah.
Failures
of 2021. Failures not just in product, but in humans.
Wow.
Because we didn't do very good.
Definitely agree. Millet is very weed-like, depending on the variety. And I think there's the one variety that I can't think of right now. The one species of it that is considered weed sometimes, because once it gets established, it's very hard to get rid of. Which, from a crop perspective, on a homestead type scale, that's awesome, because vegetables and plants that want to grow like weeds are super productive.
Yeah, those are the kind we like.
Bags. Thank you, Harvey Black.
Yeah,
I think you're right. It's I think other people. I'm not going to go into this tangent too much unless everybody wants to, but I think there's always been discussion in the YouTube world of, like, you've got the preppers, the homesteaders, the outdoor and the bushcraft communities, and there's other skills that are, like, I'm going to say peripheral to that, but they really aren't, because they're all connected into this whole of, you kind of need to do them all, to be honest. And I think people are starting to see that more and more.
Yeah, and we're definitely building up a great community of that diversity, which is nice.
And I think people are being pushed a bit more and more to see that, which the algorithm I don't think necessarily likes or knows what to do with. But yeah, the overlap.
We're just smarter than the algorithm.
I don't think the Ziploc bags probably wouldn't make too big of a mess.
It works.
What
it
makes
works.
fun in the kitchen if you don't make a mess?
Yeah.
Who makes the mess all the time?
I'm the mess, and he comes along behind and cleans it up. That's why we're a perfect match. You clean up after me.
Yep, Thorhaven's got millet coming up from the birds, what they spill too. Yeah, I think that's all. I can't think of the names of them, which one that is. Somebody might know, but did it just go ahead? No, I didn't. I'm caught up again.
Yay!
I think. Yes.
I missed whatever that was about the live views, live posts.
I think they do. Yeah, because when you're watching, they do count.
Yeah,
I think that was it. I think what he was saying was, like, go and check out some of the channels and stuff that people have, because when you check them out, it
just helps.
Yeah, basically, right? That's one.
They have great information. There's and by no means, I mean, we produce a lot of videos. We don't expect people to watch every video we make, but we produce a very diverse type stuff. So, there's always something there that might appeal, or somebody feels they might learn something from, or that sort of thing.
If it looks interesting.
It's the same thing. I mean, I will admit, time-wise, we don't have time to follow everybody's videos, all of them, but we do try and get our rounds in, and we try and, stay on top of at least a few. That's where the lives are fantastic to be in, because you get kind of caught up in, an interactive short time frame.
An interactive thing.
Yeah, a thing. It's its own thing. Drops, makes a mess, and daughter cleans up. I wish that worked around here. The kids do not help. They make more mess.
They're not quite to that age yet. They want to help. They do help, but they're not autonomous just yet. Put it that way. Oh, there we go. Chrissy's got a thing about. Thank you for finding that.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Because it's good to know that sort of stuff, because, like Honey Badger said, sometimes they won't let you, right?
Yeah.
We haven't watched it yet. Actually, Thorhaven, we're terrible because we haven't watched a bunch of your videos yet, but they're in our the watch later list.
Well, why is it? Them? No, I didn't watch it, but it was red, so I assumed you watched it already.
No.
Yeah, the one with the towel in his hair. It already had the red bar across the bottom, so I assumed you'd watched it.
No. Maybe the kids did?
Was it
That's
kid
possible.
appropriate? Because the kids watch some, but anyways, it had the red bar, so I did not watch it today because I thought you'd already watched it. So I figured you'd fill me in. But anyways, we need to go back and do some of that. But
yes, because you're getting very close on the hours.
Yes, everybody. Thorhaven is approaching, and so is Me and You Acres, I believe. Thorhaven is around 400 hours, I think. I don't know what Angie and Mike at Me and You Acres are waiting on now, but I know they're getting close too. So certainly go and watch and help them out. The monetizing thing, that I think that most of it anyways is the hours. Getting the hours. Oh, so Me and You needs 325. Ooh, the race is on. Who can get there first? Is it going to be Angie and Mike at Me and You Acres, or Bridget and Darren at Thorhaven Farm? Oh, this is a competition. Let's hear the reports next week. Yeah. The one thing to remember, and this is an interesting one too, is we keep going blurry. It keeps distracting me. Meh. Anyways, is as the days go by, they also lose hours from what they had being viewed before.
Yes, but it doesn't. But it tends to build, right? Because it's like when you first start your channel, you've got nothing.
Yeah.
You get like 2 or 3 people watch it, and those kind of don't.
Well, but I'm just saying there are hours disappearing as well, so they need to make more than, yeah. We did luck out actually, because we had. Did we have our hours before we had our subscribers?
No, it was just after.
Just after, yeah.
You should do one bluegrass bound. It's definitely worthwhile. It'll come, honey badgers. It just I don't know whether you're trying to or not. It'll come. That's the nice thing about it, right? The more content you have, the better you get at making content. I mean, this is the same thing you hear people say all the time, but that's there forever unless you take it down. So it just kind of builds. Those older videos are there, and people can find them, and that's where it's like, for what we do, anyways, or just what we do is we're usually just filming loosely what we're up to, but we try to do some of it like.
Hey, Whitney Cook.
Pick titles to say. Is that?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not
sure what that one is, but anyways.
No, there was another one that came in. I don't know what that means. But anyways, we'll just watch that for a second. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, like that's where sometimes getting some things that might be searchable, like, how to mix grains to feed chickens or something that you're doing. Those are good to have.
Sorry. You just make people. I'm making people.
Go for it.
Because I didn't realize that
Somebody else just got a blue wrench.
Who was it? Who got a blue wrench? Want to be a judge so I can take bribes.
That's a good way to do it, actually.
I actually saw you because you posted that on Darren's live stream this morning, or on because I watched his live stream and I saw that you had made a comment on that, which I think that's a fantastic idea. You just put names in and draw something out and let her roll. That's a really good idea. I may steal that and do that because I usually, it's like when I got my spinning wheel behind me here and I've been spinning the last few days. So I just plunk something on TV in the background. I don't necessarily watch it like full on because I'm watching my spinning wheel, but it does work really well. So then, yeah, that kind of takes the pressure of having to choose who to watch. You just have to draw something and go to their channel, which I actually quite like. Oh, so it's on by Christmas, eh, guys? What is it saying? On like Donkey Kong? Something like that? I'm curious on that. Let's watch this space. What are you guys going to do if you both get there? I believe, I don't know if Rambling in the Brums is still in here, but he's got to do something with a moo-moo or a tutu or something like that. There's a definite competition out there for him getting to the 500 subscribers. If a couple other channels do all at the same time, they get...
Hello, Abundant Acres Homestead. No worries at all. Thank you for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
We're just kind of chatting about stuff, which is what we usually do. I'm going to go back to Honey Badger's thing. I think that's an excellent thing about homesteading, the homesteading genre of channels, you can do anything, because there's so many things that are like, I'm going to say loosely, but they're more than loosely. They're all tied to it, right? Like cooking's part of it, preserving things is part of it,
Mm-hmm.
gardening's part of it, raising livestock's part of it. Like, and then you can go out into the next round. It's almost like permaculture. You have like your core group of things that people think of as homesteading, but then you have all the other things that kind of encircle that are all part of it, and you can do it all.
Yep. Well, so we say, I mean, I eventually want to do some stuff on the spinning and that sort of stuff a bit more, not necessarily on the more frivolous extras, like somebody was researching today about doing cat butt pot
Oh, that
holders.
came up as a thing. You were researching how to do it.
I was researching a pattern. You showed me the picture off Facebook or something. But anyways, it's sharing some stuff on some more useful, practical, everyday type items, things like that. Come. Well, I don't know. My opinion is, come crisis, I'll be able to make them.
Well, it all ends up being skill sets, right? It's like, again, going back to the seed challenge, the simplest skill set is how to grow a seed. Doesn't matter, pick one, because it's not always that simple. Some are, some aren't. Then the next one is how to save those things and keep it going. And then of course your skill sets just they balloon from there, right? And I think that's the thing too, like homesteading and all the other things that are kind of surround homesteading are all layer upon layer of skills, right? The more experience and skills you have, the more second nature some stuff starts to be. Like, I know we do that all the time, where we just don't think to document something or video it or whatever, because we're like, oh, we do that all the time. It's normal to us, right? But not everybody sees it. Like, we see that when we do like the chicken processing videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm hoping to do a couple more canning, like pressure canning videos, things like that, because I've got stuff that I've got tomatoes and things that we tucked away into the freezer to get them processed quickly. So
living a rogue life.
I wrote it down. What homesteaders do in the winter. I kind of giggle because I don't even remember what we're watching, but there was conversation about coming into downtime
which
in
is
the winter.
Somewhat true.
Which, yes, but no, because you still have, it just switches to a different skill set, like you say. I mean, in the summer we are doing gardening, animals, that sort of stuff, and then in the winter we're doing preserving and cooking, crafting, processing fleece. Like, that's a huge job, and getting it spun and made into stuff.
Sometimes still processing seeds.
Yes, seeds, as you can see by the fact that we have piles of plants that still need the seeds removed. But Drop still has Rome tomatoes he needs to do something with. Yeah, I'm actually really glad that I think I've got 60 pounds of tomatoes in the freezer because we actually went through, this is the first year that I thought I made lots of pizza sauce, and we've actually gone through a huge amount of pizza sauce. So I am glad I tucked those tomatoes away, because I wasn't sure what to do with them. And now I'm like going to be making more pizza sauce.
Nice to have it.
Yep.
Yeah, me and you, Edgar, saying the top videos are things where it's like a review or a how to, or like you say, like using the ATV for plowing. Yeah, exactly, right? Because it's something that lots of people have to do, but they're trying to learn or what have you.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for coming in, Billy Lee.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Definitely appreciate it.
And
I think Thorhaven's got a good point. A lot of it jumped ahead. A lot of the where is it here? It's here somewhere. A lot of the time, some things that you think are easy, boring, every day will interest lots of other people. And I think it's because a lot of people are looking for how to do it, right? Because there's a generational or two gap. That people just weren't exposed to it.
Yep. Well, we were talking about this with the kids the other day about the importance of it and teaching them and things like that. And we said about how important it is that they learn, because I learned from my grandmother some stuff, but even then she had gone down the line of not doing as much self-sufficiently as, say, her parents did.
Too.
Yeah. And my parents didn't really do any of it. So, you know, it was something that I was lucky I had my grandmother to coach me a little bit and stir up that interest in it enough that I carried on my own.
Well, and even and for me, it's like even though I wasn't a big help
This thing
because of
won't
my
stay.
age, it's like my mom or my parents, I should say, had a big garden. My great grandmother across the road had a big garden, so at least I saw it, right? And then that's where it's like that was my epiphany moment when I went away to college. It's like I like eating squash. Squash is expensive to buy in the store, but I know squash costs you nothing to grow. So it's like there's the first thing you're going to grow because connect the dots from an economic perspective. That makes perfect sense.
Where'd your thing go? Oh,
Which
yeah.
one?
The Living a Rogue Life. You are on it tonight. Holy, these are awesome. You should do it. There you go. We'll do a whole playlist of what homesteaders do in the winter.
Yeah, those are all good ones.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think everybody could do it, right? Because everybody's doing slightly different things. And we do it in slightly different ways and have just slightly different priorities. But yeah, those are all excellent ones. I mean, we did some last year over the winter that it was like what we did the one on the carrot seeds and prepping the carrots to get them to grow in the garden for seeds, and we definitely touched on the canning stuff a little bit.
Well, I think that's one of the things is kind of filling people in on. Sorry, I have a thought in my head. I'm just having trouble getting it out. But I think that's one of the things that a lot of people have trouble with when they get into homesteading is the realization that it is a full year thing. A full year commitment. It is
and beyond.
Well, yeah, and beyond. I mean,
it's a full year and beyond.
Yeah, it is kind of that whole thing of it doesn't just stop when the plants stop growing, or you could grow a lot of plants. You need to figure out what you're doing with them, and so on. I mean, it is all like a.
I think Miles has some excellent points here. That sustainable farms and homesteads are kind of what monasteries were to the Dark Ages. Yeah, because you have that collection of knowledge and skills, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where there's a point where everybody around you doesn't have it. And you end up, this is a big thing for me. And I know I've never been able to articulate it well, but it's like the saving.
That is a great quote, Miles.
Which one?
That's what it's the whole quote.
Oh, that's all a quote. It is a good one, but yeah, you're preserving human skills and crafts and more too, right? Because it's that notion now that we have that they didn't have at that point, that like you are part of a bigger, I'm going to say ecosystem because it's the only term I can think of that fits to it. But it's like you're dependent on the chickens that you raise, or you could be. I know we have some subsidy right now and some buffer, but technically they'll provide you food. The beans and the tomatoes and the squash that you grow, they all provide you food, but you're also providing them something, which means that you're actually connected to them, which is very, very different from a detached commodity perspective, where it's like, I'm going to say it this way, no offense to anybody who has cows, but when people start looking at beef as just dollar signs, like, oh, well, you know, those 500 cows in the feedlot over there are just X number of dollars, and I'm just going to sit on them until their dollar value goes up. That's totally a different way to look at it, because you're missing the connectedness piece there.
Yeah.
Which means you're not really preserving human skills and crafts per se. You're cashing in and
it's a great
potentially potentially contributing to destroying the preservation of those things. But that's a bigger discussion.
Angie's going to homestead 597 days out of the year. You got some trouble there. You're in trouble.
Oh, that's funny.
And that's an excellent point with that we're already living it. And we're doing it.
It's funny because you were less hesitant than me on starting a YouTube channel, because we were kind of like, I don't know, whatever. And it's a whole different.
And it shows at the beginning of our videos, because I'm the one out there dreaming and homesteading's wonderful.
It's another skill set, right? Because you're showing people and hopefully teaching people how to do things. But what won me over was, well, we're already doing it, so we're creating content, but we're not quote unquote creating. We're not having to sit down for hours to come up with like a story. It's just, well, we've got to butcher chickens this weekend, so there you go.
And I think because we talk throughout the video, as people follow things, they basically get the drift of our story. somewhat.
Well, I think Lazy Days has a good point too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's looking at it differently. Like we've gotten a lot of comments. I don't know. Some people have probably seen it. We did a thing on broody chickens. Take a drink of water. And lots of people who homestead are familiar with broody chickens, but how many people produce all of their chickens under broody hens? Like we don't have an incubator. We haven't used an incubator for a very long time.
At least 10 years.
Well, the better part of that. We've a couple times we've brought in.
We tried to do the duck eggs under the incubator, and that
so it's like everything we produce, they do it, and that's a totally different. That's just one thing, but that's a totally different way of doing it, and it works. It can work. It's just a little different. So hopefully it comes out when we show that. I guess. Yeah, that's a good point too. The grow lights turn on when the batteries are charged and turn off when they get to a level. Yeah. That's something we'd all it has to do is water the plants.
That's where we go wrong.
You have to water them?
Is the bean still growing downstairs?
Yeah, it still is.
It was funny. There was one of Bama's beans, when we were sorting beans, it ended up in the sink drain and it sprouted. So James stuck it into a pot and we put it downstairs. And I said, I bet you it'll be dead because nobody's watered it.
Crucy has a good comment about his grandfather used to make him, quote unquote, make him garden. And then now you look back on it and you're grateful for it. I think that's something we're noticing with the kids, right? The distraction of playing on a tablet is huge given the option,
but they are absorbing the information, and there will come a time when they will be grateful.
You're pulling them back to it, right? Too is, I guess, the point I was making. It's a life commitment with a ton of moving parts. I totally agree with that, and I think it's so many moving parts that it never ends. That's the other part, right? There is no end. There is no light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak.
And the other thing I will say is, we will be your personal guide. You keep telling us what to make videos of, and we'll figure out how to make them because you're full of amazing ideas. That we do brainstorm. We do have lists of things that, like what would people like to see, because we do so much in a day. You can't film everything. I mean, I think that's one of the things I would. Not that anybody in here is going to start a channel, but that's one of the things that I think
Bluegrass Bound is.
Okay, I would advise up front is not to try and do the film your whole day and bring it down, because
you can do that occasionally.
To do it once in a while or something, but that's where people I hear it over and over again about how they have so much time spent on editing and how they get burnt out and exhausted and
pick something compartmentalized. Yeah. It's like I'm going out to harvest carrots.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to, that sometimes is
for the first year, we did basically a video a day on something we were doing, and now we do the 5 videos a week.
Yeah,
and one of them's live, so it's 4 videos and a live, and that's working really nicely. But that would be my one thing advice to people as they go into doing it. And by no means are we an amazingly huge channel that's made it. But it would be hard. It would be very hard for us to take it and just film everything we do in a day and try and make a video out of it.
I like Living a Rogue Life has some good ideas. How to keep your boots dry. We haven't mastered that one.
Or gloves. Gloves.
Gloves are the word.
We've got to have Got to have 10 pairs of gloves because
you always lose one of a pair.
And every time I go to grab a pair, all my gloves match. I did that on purpose because when one wears out, you just grab a different one. Well, every time I go to grab gloves, they're always the same hand. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I can see what Celtic Roots is saying. Research what people are looking for and then do it. I still think, and from a growing perspective, because that's from a growing your channel perspective, you're probably 100% right, but I still think there's merit to filming what you're doing because I'm going to say it. I like some of the big channels, but at the same time, some of the big channels give you a promise of something that may or may not be true. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, well, and
I'm gonna pick on
start out with really, really good values and good, and then as it gets more into a content farm or that sort of thing,
we don't have that problem. I'm gonna pick on it from a homesteading perspective. And then nothing against anybody who raises broilers, but that's a bit of a false promise. It produces you food. It produces you food that you know what it ate, so you are definitely crossing some of the pieces off, but that's not sustainable.
Yeah, you still have to have the hatchery to do the
yeah, you're 100% dependent on buying those chicks. So
and that's just a personal viewpoint, a personal opinion. Is like Chris said, there's nothing wrong with doing it. It's just not.
It still crosses off. You know what happened. You know how it was raised.
It was ethically raised.
You know what it was fed. You know how it was treated, and you can do that process, but you're still buying it all the time.
Yeah,
that's yeah. That's where I'm going with that.
What do you prefer to wear? I love this because you know what our video on that would be? It would be what we prefer to wear, but then we have to think about what we wore in yesterday's video and make sure we wear something different because normally we would just wear the same thing over and over and over.
It doesn't matter how dirty it gets.
But when you do YouTube videos, you have to think about these things and go, oh, I need actually some more clothes in my wardrobe. You're terrible with that because you've got like 3 sweaters that all match. And it's like you can't keep wearing that same sweater, even though it's not the same sweater, because it looks like the same sweater.
Oh, that's too funny. Most research videos are my top videos. Yeah, see, and we're terrible because we don't research them. I haven't really. We research like what to do for video topics.
Oh, we never do.
We've never. We'll look at like the tag words or like the title searches to try to figure out something that works. But we usually just film. I don't know.
Well, and it comes off very natural, and it has a natural progression. That's another thing that we really like is taking all of our subscribers through our journey in order. I mean, it is somewhat day to day. I mean, we don't really we always do the
odd one,
and sometimes videos just get left completely out because it's like, well, a month has gone by, we can't do that one.
Yeah, we kind of usually embed the tips.
Yeah.
The one thing we're gonna have to come back here and write down all of Living a Rogue Life's because you've given us like a ton. They're great. We just haven't written them all down. But just add why you're doing it. I think that's the one thing I found kind of hard because it's like I'm going to go back to Miles's one comment that he put on. Like there's underlying tones to things, and sometimes because I do agree. I think usually you're better on the shorter side. Although we find like from a metric perspective, it doesn't matter. We always get like
it's always 50%.
Doesn't matter whether it's a 2-minute video or a 1-minute video
or a 30-minute video.
It
seems like people watch 50%,
which is kind of funny.
So people are watching and half people aren't. Or I don't
know. But yeah, we. Where's I going with that? I was going somewhere with it. I'm gonna go back up because it jumped ahead on me. Oh boy, what was I?
I'm gonna be super terrible, but I have to ask, and I know that I should know it. But Living a Rogue Life, I forget your name.
As soon as she says it,
I will be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. The why, because sometimes the why is embedded in its layers, right? And I think that's where it's hard because we found the videos that we do that are more like you said it. Anything where we put like, here's a thought. Nobody watches them. Which no, I shouldn't say nobody does.
No,
there are lots of people that do, but they don't get found. But sometimes those are the ones that it's like you kind of needed that. It's like going to school, right? You needed that basic piece of information to understand the next few iterations. And I think that's the hard part with YouTube because people's attention spans, which everybody who's in here right now, I would say has pretty good attention span because you're still listening to us talk about this. So, but not everybody does, right? And
we'll have to go back as well and watch through this again because Harvey is posting some links that I don't recognize, which is fine. But we'll have to go back to so that we can follow those channels because I can't open them as he's going.
I agree with what me and you, Aker, said. Wanting to stay to who you are, no matter how small or big. Yeah, you can find ways. It's like anything, right? There's definitely ways to grow your channel faster. Is that what you actually want? Is that what you're trying to do? if it grows and you get monetized, and that helps to take some pressure off of stuff because you're making the videos anyways, that's awesome. That's like the basics of homesteading. Doing that, you're showing what you're doing. That's helping support your homestead a little bit. Are you going to get rich at it? No, I'm talking like it's helping you. That's great. That's where I hope everybody who's in here gets to. To be honest with you. Yeah, Chris's Clever Craft. If you make it, Chris's Clever Craft. if you make a title that's clickbait, it'll do well. But are you okay doing that? I agree with that, because sometimes you can play with those titles to the point where it's almost not even really applicable to what your video was. But if you play with it enough, you know that it'll get people's attention. We're not going to say. We watched one today that we wasn't what we thought it was.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. And we didn't finish watching it because we're like, well, yeah, it wasn't what we thought it was, right? So I think that's where you've got to be careful with it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's more detrimental to your overall channel analytics if you do that, because then people, get you end up having click offs, which doesn't help. You're better off to have people want to stay. Maybe you had less people, less people watch it, but they watched it through, which shows better that you had content that was holding people's interest.
Oh, I'm way behind.
I know we are.
Show real life. See, so
now I have permission to wear the same outfit.
But there's a trick to it. You have a different set of clothes when you're in the house. That's like the pants, right? You can wear the same pair of pants out to the barn. Maybe not when you're doing a really messy job, but for like 2-3 weeks, maybe.
You do not. I watched them before that because that's nasty.
I've done up to 2 weeks.
No,
it depends what we're doing.
Yeah, and you piled them in the corner, and then I grabbed them and put them in the laundry. See, he cleans up after me in the kitchen, and then I clean up after him out in the laundry.
Yeah, result of groups makes it much difficult. We don't really have a direction. Yeah, I agree. Yep, and Chrissy, a lot of people, if stuff you're doing anyways. Oh, that's kind of cool. Drops has a background in SEO, and the tech background helps, and that's just it, right? Your previous experiences and stuff makes a big difference. Yeah,
we were very not tech savvy. That we've been figuring it out as we go, and it's been going pretty good, I think. I mean,
not doing terrible.
Yeah, you did say that, Angie. That was funny.
That's funny.
I did giggle at that part. I'm like, I wonder if she meant to edit that out.
You'll have to write down Living a Rogue Life's
yeah, okay.
Number. This is the one thing that's really actually quite cool. We really do enjoy it, because I don't think when we started, you hear this a lot, but we didn't realize like the community that develops from just putting yourself out there, showing what you're doing. And then you meet so many other people who are doing the same thing. And that's been really neat. There's no other way to put that. Like that was a total unexpected
we had no idea
piece of it.
No idea that this was part of it.
No, exactly.
Well, now I've got tongue problems. Canadian Peaches, hello. I don't think I've seen you in here before.
No.
But yes.
Yeah, the thumbnails I think are
Carla,
important.
that's not what I thought.
I didn't know that. I'll admit this to everybody in here. I'm terrible with names. It takes a while to get it drilled into my head. So
I know, and it's like sometimes you catch people's names once, and then it's like,
and I'm bad too.
And I don't write things down well enough to keep organized.
And I'm always bad too, because when I'm looking at the chat, I usually try to use their screen name there, because then it other people can see, because they may not know you.
Yeah.
A lot of us do know each other, so I probably should just start using people's names, but
well, we kind of mix it up a bit. Mix and mash.
I'm glad Canadian Peaches liked the information that we've been putting out about the partridge Chanticleer.
Yes.
They're
that's a breed that we are very, very proud of and believe that they're amazing and people should have them. So we
at least for where
tried
we are.
where in and I do feel terrible for people in the States because they would be it's like people in Alaska, they'd be a great chicken there too.
We just can't.
But I don't know, we can't send stuff, and I don't know if there are.
That's a law thing too, right? And another new person.
Cecile, hello.
How are you? Glad you came in. Sorry,
Yes,
we're a little bit
behind.
the chat,
so hopefully you're still here. But that's kind of the usual. I mean, if you follow any of the Canadian chats here, whether it's me and you, Acres, Thorhaven, we all are always terribly behind.
Boy, I am way
okay. Well,
behind.
just stop saying you're way behind and keep going through the chat.
Boy, I'm going to do a bit of a speed catch up here. Darren's going to be like, "Ha, you set a new record."
New record for being way behind. No, Angie still holds that one.
Oh, that's too funny.
Angie might have that. Really? Then nobody would know. Well, that kind of makes sense.
I'm sure I know who he's talking about. Celtic Roots there. Stop watching any videos that aren't pretty fair.
And that's exactly the thing. Like, I mean, and we're usually pretty, like, you can tell when something's kind of clickbaity a little bit, but there's the occasional time where you just get suckered.
We have actually thought about this, Miles, with the roundtable. I think we're gonna. It's too busy right now with coming up to the holidays, but I think in January, because Darren at Thorhaven said the same thing.
Yeah, roundtables.
I think we're going to start doing that. Haven't really worked out how to do it because it'd be nice to keep it to.
Because he always says that you and him need to do a live.
Well, but there's so many people, right? And I think like what we're doing now is we love this. We want to keep doing. That's why we do them every Tuesday night. But the roundtable, I think, would be neat to do as. It's almost like an offshoot from the normal lives. Like you say, it's its own thing. You do it like once a month or something. You come up with a schedule.
Good night, Thorhaven. Hopefully we didn't miss you. He'll be long gone.
Brainstorming.
Yeah, he's missing our brainstorming, but that's okay.
But we kind of think of a topic. Like we'll go back to StreamYard. We can have other people come in. I almost wonder if we kind of pose a topic out there, throw it out there, and then give the opportunity for different people to come up and chat about it, because I think it would be different from just a social chat. It would be very like great minds getting together, working through various topics. I think it's a great idea. So you're not the first person to say that to us. I think we'll figure that out.
Yeah,
because I think it's
because some of the discussion is really interesting stuff, and we need to do it. Yes. Mm-hmm. The office trick, head up or waist up gets changed. Chris lives in his PJs. I'm sorry, I'm ratting you out, but you.
I don't live in them.
He doesn't live in them.
Outside, I change into the barn clothes.
At 5:00 at quitting time, he says, "Okay, I'll get dressed and come help you with chores."
Because you usually do the morning ones.
Yeah.
But
well, now that we have the 3 horses, though, you've been having to come out.
Help you with that,
but then you still end up back in your PJs.
No, I don't. Well, I am now, but it's. I agree with the clickbaity stuff. It's just More video on how to grow your YouTube home channel. Tips from non-experienced pros. Well, definitely we should check that out. Celtic Roots. Sorry.
Celtic.
I know.
Haven't you been in Cedar Creek? Creekside Maples. I don't know where Cedar Creek came from, but anyways.
We actually do use TubeBuddy. I'll say that right now. We do use TubeBuddy. There's a lot of things I really like about it. And something just because it makes it quicker or easier. So I don't know. I think it helps. I don't know. I don't know if it is a make or break or perfect. Yeah. That's just my opinion. Could be our subjects too, but it's definitely helpful.
Canadian Peaches is from Manitoba.
Oh, there you go. We have met quite a few people.
Where did that just go?
It just went back up.
Where'd it go?
We're way behind. Let's see, we're way behind. Cecile's still here.
Riding Mountain, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so maybe you have been in here before then, because I remember talking to somebody else that was near Riding Mountain. So maybe you have been in here before, and it's just the Canadian peaches didn't stick for me. Or there's somebody else that does YouTube that's near you. But anyways.
I think we did know. I think we did know.
I know checking about pages. Yes, that's definitely the way to go. We got another one of these things. This someone putting their tech thingies. Anyways, they don't. It doesn't seem to keep. It doesn't keep repeating it. So that's the third one now.
Yeah. Thank you, Harvey Black, for sharing Celtic roots.
Oh, there's the video. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to come back to this. Actually, I'm going to open.
No,
I'm going to come back to it. But
we'll scroll back up. Yeah.
But definitely, people should go and check that out.
Streamlining and not wasting time. Yes.
We have to have Mike the Knight of the Round Table.
Yes.
There we go. It'll be like Knights of the Homesteading Round Table or something. I don't know.
Knights of the Homesteading Realm. Isn't it?
Homesteading Knights at the Round Table. There we go.
There we go.
That's what we're calling it. Maybe we should write that one down.
Homesteading
Knights at the Round Table.
Because
then it works on multiple levels, right? It could work on the knights as in knights in shining armor type thing, or it could work as
But Mike has to come dressed up then. Are you going to get a knight's costume? I think that'd be kind of fun.
Well, but it works.
I would be coming as a princess. Angie and I would be coming as princesses. Women would come as princesses. I've always wanted to dress up as a princess. That's a good
point. What Drops is saying, do a topic in the community tab and then do the live the next day.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And potentially even use like the poll option too, to be like, what are some things that people would like to talk about? Because I think
you do realize you're going to have to follow through on this.
Oh,
he's on it.
I've thought about it for a while. When I'm going to say it, when we were smaller, I don't know if it would have worked well, but I think we're big enough now, and we've met enough people that are, we converse with a lot, that I think collectively you could get quite a bit of information going through it. Drops. I don't wear PJs. They're wearing the same outfits. You don't realize it. Yeah, exactly. You don't realize it until
you do the video. That's when we started realizing. It's amazing how many things you notice that you do. What was the word I used to say? Oh, every single video started with the word so. So we're going to blah, blah, blah. So we're going to now do.
That was, you notice a lot of the things about the way you talk. Like,
I was just like,
I'm not doing it now, but filming, I have a tendency to talk.
You say,
And I pauses. It's like, blah, 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 blah. And it's really weird that I do it. I don't know. It's like I'm thinking and it takes a while for it to come out.
You say or a lot.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Short video a couple days in advance. Say what you'd like to discuss. Yeah, that's another option.
Yeah.
I think we could potentially do all of it to get it going. And yes, we have talked to Canadian Peaches before. As soon as you said Riding Mountain, I did wonder, because I remember that. And I agree. Leggings, or in my case, long johns and a hoodie all winter.
I wear 2 pairs of leggings. Love them.
Mm-hmm.
I tried long johns. It just was not comfy, but I like 2 pairs of leggings. And like you say, a hoodie, and then I usually fleece. I don't even have a winter coat. Mm-hmm. I do a fleece layers because I end up in the barn taking it off or whatever. So.
Yeah, I even know that it's not pronounced Celtic. It's Celtic, and I still did it.
You did. Life is better in pajamas. That's
actually funny. I don't remember if Canadian Peaches does have a.
I don't know, but maybe
YouTube
she says
channel.
later on because we're behind.
We're that far behind.
Now it jumped.
No, I should though. You should. Yes. Honestly, I think I would say that to anybody, with the big caveat: as long as you're doing the stuff. I don't know how people do YouTube channels where they're sitting down and creating content. I think.
Yeah.
But if you're doing the stuff anyways, I would say do it.
Pioneer princesses, like it. Like it. So we'll have a Pioneer princess roundtable discussion.
There you
and
go.
a knights roundtable
No,
discussion.
queens, not princesses.
Oh, queens. Okay, we
There
could
you
do
go.
queens. Yeah.
But what rhymes? It's got to be.
Why does it have to rhyme?
I guess it doesn't have to rhyme.
Knights of the Homesteading Knights of the Round Table does not rhyme.
Yep, Honey Badger is sticking to being
She's
a
been a
peasant.
peasant.
I think it should be just like common folk discussions because that's what it is.
This
I'm
is his
big
new
on that.
favorite thing: is old timey common folk. What is it you say all the time?
Old-timey
Now?
common or
It's old timey
old-
common folk
things.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ways.
the ways of the common folk. Like Chris knows anything about how they had to live.
Well, I don't.
You would have
from
lasted a
experience.
day.
Better than some people. Quite a bit.
That's true. Yes. Queens.
We're caught up.
Oh my.
We did get your number.
Yes, we wrote it down.
We wrote it down. It is
Carla,
officially
thank
on
you.
a piece of
Yep,
paper.
we've got it. Because honestly, some fantastic ideas, and would love to pick your brain. Because hey,
Celtic Roots is saying so is a curse word to them now because they and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and editing them all out. But we've gotten to the point you can't edit out all the ums because a lot of the time they run into the word on the next thing.
Yours do because you don't slow down when you're talking.
I talk fast all the time.
And mine do. I can usually edit mine out.
Yeah.
There you go, Goddess
of Garden. Oh, now that's got a good ring.
Huh. I think it would be a good thing though. I don't know if Miles is still in here, but because there's a lot of different things you could discuss, right? I think it'd be nice to keep it kind of in the realm of sustainability and the peripheral things to that, because I think that's a big.
I need more paper.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
But I kind of think it's a good idea. I think January will be time to.
Well, we've got the Canadian Seed Challenge thing happening going up to January 7th, and we'll probably take that first one in January to do a live that's still going to pertain to, well, at least our Tuesday live will still pertain to that, to kind of get people wrapped up in that. But definitely we want to see some people's videos on that. But then I think adding a roundtable discussion in on, we'll just have to see what days work for people. Or if it is a case that Tuesday's the day that works, then we just do a roundtable instead of our regular live. But I don't care whether it's a different day or same day.
I don't know. Canadian Peaches sounds like it's interesting enough to do a YouTube channel around. Certainly sounds it. Yeah,
that sounds like, and I bet you there's some interesting things that go on.
Oh, I would imagine.
I always like bull mastiffs. I really always like them.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm not a dog person in the sense of actually wanting the commitment of a dog.
We have a lot of animals.
Yeah. Isn't it weird that I have this thing that dogs are a huge commitment in comparison with all the other animals that we have?
No, it's just different, right? And we're going to be getting this crazy wind in the next few days. We've had some pretty crazy wind.
Not yesterday, not last night, the night before.
Yeah, we basically got the tail end of what happened,
the tail end of the tornado came up through. But we had gusts of, it was only about, was it 102? That's kilometers, not miles, right? Or maybe it was miles. I'd have to look it up. Anyways, it was like, it sounded like the house was shifting. It did move one of our outbuildings, but Red in the Valley, hello. But I think Canadian Peaches, yes, definitely interesting content. And you know what? The one thing that I will say is that there's really great communities that help you going and help you get going and promote you and get started. And the one thing that I have noticed, I mean, we follow, 270 channels. You don't watch everybody's everything. Because you're watching the parts that you enjoy, what appeals to you, what you can learn from. And so,
and it's also, you're doing the stuff. So that's the other part too, right? But I'm going to go back up.
Have a good night, Miles.
Yes, and he got the thing.
And he said
old-timey skills for the common folk. That's what it was.
Yeah. Is that your new motto?
I think so.
I better write it down properly.
hen drop saying you can just hand the seeds across the border, the invisible border.
Yeah.
Good night, Celtic Roots. We'll
Yes.
definitely catch you later. And thank you very much for coming in and sticking with us for so long. Here's a rabbit with your haircut. Make it into a hat for winter.
Maybe I missed something.
I'm missing the joke there with the rabbit and the haircut. Unless it's about Canadian Peaches and all the stuff she's got going on.
Because she's got the haircut. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yes. A rabbit getting a haircut. Oh, my.
Yeah, the wind was crazy here. Exactly. It sounded like a train was coming. Like the booms the trees were making when they were
like crackling and creaking. And
we didn't get anything compared to what Kentucky got.
No, I can't imagine. Nails piercings, body sugaring, and rabbits. Or the goats. There you go. Body sugar the goat.
Yeah, it's basically you have to build for it.
That's
the big thing. Oh, Dusty and good night, Dusty and Chelsea. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, good to see you guys, and we'll see you next week.
But I think that's all you can do.
That's all.
Is
you watch what you can,
as much as you can,
and it is a case of we try and kind of like. I love your idea of just picking something out of the hat. I think that's a great idea, and then we just try and scroll through and see if there's something that really appeals. But I mean, a lot of the time you've got. Well, for us anyways, we've got kind of the 2 hours before bed, and hopefully we've edited and done our other stuff first. And then it's just plunking something on while we're doing things.
Oh, Bluegrass Bounds from Kentucky.
Yes.
And Bowling Green. I actually know where that is because I went to a course once at the Mammoth Caves for the other side of my life, which is biology side, which was so I've kind of been in that area.
Have a good night, Rogue Knight.
Yes, thank you very much for coming in.
We'll probably be wrapping it up soon too. We've been on here 2 hours, so
we're getting up there.
But
and good night, Tiny Tim Posey.
Yes, and thank you again for the super chats. That was very, very much appreciated.
You get the honor of being the first one
ever to give us a super chat. So thank you very much, Tiny Tim. Made our night. Actually, we have good lives usually, but.
Oh, that's pretty crazy. Electrical lines hitting the trees and sparking. Oh. We fortunately didn't have that. But
at least not that we knew about.
I was out finishing up we did a rabbit butchering this weekend, and the wind came.
And you were out in there, and I was like, oh, is that tree going to fall in the shed?
Well, it wasn't big enough to do enough damage, so I kept going, but
Yeah. Canadian Peaches, to tag, you need to just put the little @ sign and then start typing their name. And usually it comes up with a couple people that if there's more than one person that has the same, but you got to type in, I think it's at least the first 2 or 3 letters in order for it to come up. And then you just click on their name and it tags them. And then you need to click back in the box to keep typing. Otherwise it doesn't, but that's how you tag.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
And if you're on a cell phone, you can't tag.
No.
That's only on
a
computer or I don't know if a tablet does or not.
Never tried.
Yeah.
That's crazy that there's
well, I know that there was some parts that definitely got worse even here in Ontario than we did, but it was windy, that's for sure.
Night, Eldan.
Yes.
We'll be chatting with you in the near future, I'm sure. Yeah, that's where you appreciate that you have the generator. When you don't have when everybody else is out of power.
Yeah. Chris, we're playing tag. Yeah, we're teaching everybody how to play tag.
Oh, you can do it on a phone.
Oh, really?
Switch to a desktop view. Well, there you go.
So I don't even know how to change to desktop view on my phone, but that's interesting to know that you could do it.
I had no idea you could do that. Mind you, I don't do anything on the phone, really. You do. You do all the phone stuff.
So so you'd have to not be in the app then, right? Is that what that means? Desktop view, you have to not be in the app? Anyways, we'll figure it out.
But it is a good reminder. Like I'm going to say it for those of us in Canada, or at least in Ontario and Quebec. The worst we got from the windstorm that I know of, or I've heard, is power outages, which are bad enough. But there's a great example, right? It can happen quick.
Yeah.
Who would think you'd be getting winds like that in December? Like that's not usually this time in December. We're getting a pretty good freeze up, which is usually the opposite. So, when in the browser, switch to desktop view. Okay, there you go.
Okay, I need to just check this here. Oh no, because I'd have to be in a live to be able to check it.
Yeah, but we'll try it.
It's not an app.
We'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to try.
We learned something. You just taught us something new.
Yeah. Now we're going to experiment with that. That'll change the world. Because I like doing, when we watch lives and stuff, I like to cast it to the TV, but then I'm on my phone to cast it, and then I can't type. Now, saying that, you can cast from your laptop, I guess. But
12 hours is enough.
Yep.
It's still, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but 12 hours is still a long time. Hi, Simply Jan.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in. And thank you, Harvey, for the liking our Christmas lights. Our tree's a little shorter than last year, so we went around the window and kind of use up the lights.
Well, and we have 8 cats, and quite a few of them were little kittens last year, so there wasn't any problems with the tree per se last year.
But we weren't sure.
But this year, with all bigger cats, we were a little concerned. So we went with a spiky blue spruce. I have wounds to prove it. And the cats haven't touched it. So we've actually we thought we weren't going to be able to even decorate it because we thought, the cats are going to knock everything off and ruin it.
Yeah, and they haven't.
Nope, haven't touched it.
Which is kind of.
Touch wood.
Not wood. Which has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, Crucy. Yeah, when it's cold outside, 12 hours without power, if you need power to run your heat, that's a big deal.
Yes. Before I forget, Crucy, when were you going to be in Brockville?
It was
Saturday.
Saturday,
right? Okay. So I will send a thing,
and we'll figure that out.
I had to turn my paper sideways.
Now we're lucky. We do have 3 male cats, but they're all fixed, and they don't spray or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we have an old female cat who does.
She's outside,
but it's actually kind of funny. She sprays just like she's a boy.
Ours is, Cecile says, you can't see it, but there's a wire going to a hook in the ceiling.
We have a bunch of hooks that we hang plants off of, like house plants. So we just took the one off and just wired it right to the hook, which is into the
beam
stud or the beam. So we should be good, even if they do go up the tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So far, so good. And the tree's been up for 9 days now.
Yeah.
We got it Sunday last weekend. So
we're knock on wood. Good.
Yeah. If they haven't touched it yet, I don't think they're going to.
But yeah, that's one thing I remember from when I was a kid. I mean, we have power outages still now from time to time, but the ice storm of 98, that's when it was, 98.
Yeah.
That was like 3 weeks, I think it was for us.
Yeah, you were a long time without power, and that was in the cold.
Yeah, that was January or February. I forget exactly.
I think it's February.
It might have been February, but yeah, it was cold. So I know for our family, we were really, really happy that we had the fireplace, which is one of the big things of why we when we moved, went looking for a house that had wood stoves, or we would have been putting
that was on
anyways.
that was on the prerequisite.
It was a high priority.
Okay, off. Come
on. Oh, that didn't sound good.
She took the sorghum with her.
Did not land on her feet.
She didn't land on her feet, but it wasn't very far.
Jan just got 3 male kittens and 1 female kitten.
Oh,
kittens are fun, but how many do we have now? Cats?
9.
9. That's enough.
Or well, no, sorry, 8. 8, not 9. Sorry, 8.
True.
And 1 didn't come in tonight, so we better be around tomorrow morning.
Oh, no problems. Thank you for sticking with us so long, Bluegrass Brown.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes.
I'm glad you caught it.
And like I said, next we do Tuesdays at 8:30. So hope to see you next week.
Yes, the ice storm was a big lesson. I think for people that didn't live through it, it's because it lasted so long, right? It was pretty major. I don't think we've had, to my knowledge, I don't think we've had anything comparable since.
No, there was a little bit. We were.
We have one. There
2 days or 3 days without power. The one was that 2008.
That sounds about right.
It was before kids.
For a few weeks, another place to stay. Yeah, that's exactly, Crucy. That's what's crazy about it, right? Because you don't think about it sometimes until it happens, and then what do you do? Because especially if you're in an apartment, don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, exactly. That would not have been fun. Well, we're certainly glad to have the wood stoves. We do have a generator, which we probably would use. I know it sounds silly, but we probably use it to run the freezers and fridge.
Yeah, but the freezer, the one thing that's nice, this is like a...
Well, in the winter, you can put it outside.
Well, and it's also like a deep freeze. A chest freezer is nice because it will keep the cold in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just, if the power goes out, you don't...
Okay, March of 99. There you are.
There we go.
Cindy sorted you out.
Well, there you go.
And she was having a kid. Great time for that.
Yeah, that's even worse. Oh, no worries. Hopefully your internet's not too bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys get some of the wind and stuff where you are, Jan? So I know you're not Kentucky, but you're a lot closer than we are. Mm-hmm. We got the tail end of it. Oh, wow. Escorted by police and snowplow and salt trucks to Ottawa. Well, that's good.
Safety first. Safety first.
That's quite the story because we know that it ended well.
Yes.
But at the time, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, the propane heaters. That's another one.
Yeah. Just a little rain. Yeah.
Well, that's good at least. We didn't have rain from it. We just had the wind.
Oh, the wind
we just got the tail end of the wind.
Yeah. It was supposed to rain,
but
we didn't get anything. No. But yeah.
I was gonna say something. Having another one of those moments where I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Wow, that's all right.
There'll be another time for that.
Yeah, but we were talking about the generator and stuff, and then I don't know.
Well, I think it's just that those, I say subsidies, but those things can, if they're not working, what do you do, right? Which is the whole reason for the prepping mentality.
Mm-hmm. Okay, May 10 days later. Yeah.
Yeah, Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, and
be prepared. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just it. We said, that's part of all the homesteading thing. If homesteaders were basically preppers, I mean, you
had no. If you go back to the original definition, you didn't have a choice.
No, because otherwise you didn't eat the rest of the year,
or you died.
Yes, and the more we're seeing things at the grocery store, the more because we've been going to the grocery store to get things for Christmas time and all that. When we get ourselves treats and all that, and holy cow! I mean, that's just another, comes because we're not used to going to the grocery store for stuff. But
yeah, when you go a fairly lengthy period of time without going very often,
and then
very many things.
Yeah, you really notice it, but it's a fact of life now. What was it? Oh, that was the thing we saw something that we were watching. Was it the National? They talked about in 2022. This is all going to tie. This is all going to tie in with our. Sorry, this is a little sneak tidbit, but it's all going to tie in with our homesteading economic type stuff that we do in January, where we see how much we spent in 2021 and how much we got and everything else.
How much we produced,
But in 2022, they're estimating that the average household in Canada for a family of 4 is going to be almost $15,000 a year to feed.
Mhm.
Because of they're
The
seeing
rise
7 to 8%
is the predicted.
increase is what they're predicting for 2022 on a lot of food, dairy, meat, some produce. I can't think of what the other stuff was that was supposed to really go. I know I'm blurry. It's focusing on you and not me. What about me? I want to focus on me.
There you go. It's focused on you. There you go.
It's
but
like
yeah, that's a big. Red in the Valley saw it too. That's a big jump.
Like that's crazy. So we started going, well, jeepers, because we tallied up what we'd spent. So, and that didn't include eating out. That was not eating out. That was purely
That's
food,
just
grocery store food. And so we were tallying up because I, of course, am obsessed with tracking all this sort of stuff. And
it's good, though.
We tallied up. At that point, I got on the thing and I started adding it all up. And we had only spent $4,380 all year, and that included eating out. So I'm very curious to see where we sit on how much it's cost us to have the animals and the livestock and the gardens and all that sort of stuff.
Well,
because
the gardens don't cost.
Well, no, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that we are under $10,000 to raise everything that we do to feed ourselves, and we also probably, I'm going to say, eat better quality than what probably the food is that they're actually factoring. But I mean, just absolutely crazy that they're saying it's going to be $15,000 a year. I mean, for the average, I don't know what the average income is. I've never looked at that, but I'm going to guess it's probably around 45,000, maybe.
You're better with numbers than I am.
I don't know if that's true or not in Canada, but if it is, that's a huge chunk going to food.
Mm-hmm.
Like huge. I mean, people will have to start growing food, and that's where the Canadian Seed Challenge comes in to help people get seeds that they need.
Well, it's kind of getting to the 11th hour to some degree, because anyways,
be prepared, not scared. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the way forward. And
well, it definitely with like if it goes 50%, like what Honey Badgers is saying, that's really scary. If it goes that high, then there is no economic reason not to do it. Because a lot of people do say, like, that comment comes fairly often to us. It's like, why do you spend all that time doing all that work when you can just buy it?
Harvey says oatmeal's supposed to go way up. Really? Drought and heat waves? Yeah, I could see that actually. Yeah.
But oats would be.
Wow.
Are they? I wonder. Are they controlled by the Wheat Board in Canada? Probably. I don't know if they are or not, though. Mm-hmm. Truckers face cross-border restrictions. Apparently, way more shortages to come.
Yeah, that's what they're predicting.
It's amazing how much money we save.
And Jen, it's so surprising how much we save doing our own food.
The hardest part is when you start, right?
It doesn't feel like it at the time.
And year one or even year two, you're not saving as much as you'd like, because you've got to start doing it all. You've got to buy the seeds. You've got to build the coops. You've got to, all of that stuff that goes along with it. If you haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
But then after enough years, it levels off, right? To the point, it's like, we use our chickens as an example. The only thing they cost us is their feed.
Yeah.
We don't
buy chickens. We don't buy,
but it takes a while to get to that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, be prepared, not scared is a good.
Yes. Now we got to go back. You've got a whole bunch of. The carnivore, yes, I will admit we were very carnivore until this year. We finally got the animal side of it running the way we wanted, and felt we were probably producing surplus, and we delved further into the garden. We'd always had a small garden, but this year we vamped it up and ramped it up, whatever. And
there's a lot more discussion to come on that, because little teaser tidbit.
Unbelievable how much money that saved us.
I'm going to say it this way. There is all that argument of, like, the Beyond Meats and all this plant-based diets and this, that, and whatever. I don't quite believe in that, because I think it depends where you are. The further north you go, the harder it is. But to eat plant-based, because it's not available all year long unless you can store it. But at the same time, you definitely need to have a lot of plants going into your diet. That's just my opinion, because otherwise, I'm not gonna I'm not going to go into it right now because I'm probably too tired to get into it.
Yeah, but it's definitely could be part of the roundtable discussions.
Well, there is some truth to it, but it's also the carrying capacity for those animals too, right? Because they always have to be fed, so there is competition factors, and I mean that's been a whole thing about our remodeling of our homestead,
trying to get the livestock side of it a bit more sustainable, and what could we actually feed here if we had to, which is not necessarily, that's a long-term project, like that's a long ways off, but narrowing it down, making selections, and maybe not having as much diversity, but actually being able to sustain it if we had to is kind of the key. Yeah, that is kind of funny that you went 2 daughters and then your power ended up staying on. That's what happens. This is what we always say kind of as preppers, is if you're prepared, you won't need it. If you're not prepared, that's when you'll need it.
And actually, I think Drops is higher north or further north than we are.
He probably is, because that's up. Yeah. Yeah, well, we're potatoes at the grocery store were $6.29, I think, for a 10-pound bag, which is still pretty high. But then you've got weird stuff going on in PEI about the potatoes right now and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, Red in the Valley, come to pay attention to the things that like they're not local, to adjust to not having them very soon. Yep, exactly. And alternatives. Well, this is like the sorghum discussion we had earlier. It's not something that people think about, but you can do it. So that makes it a good alternative. And there's other alternatives too, right?
Yeah.
So be prepared, not scared, but I'm scared of our leader.
That, Jane, opens up a whole nother topic.
that opens up. I won't go into it right now, but that opens up Pandora's box, so to speak, of this is the whole thing about the old timey. What's the saying? Old timey
skills for the common folk.
Yeah, because that's basically what it comes down to. Not those who are not the common folk don't necessarily have your best interest.
Oh no.
In mind, or your interest at all.
But they're the ones making the decisions.
And they're the ones making the money. And
yes.
That's as far as I'm going to go with that. But that's why learning the skills, as stupid as it sounds, learning how to grow a tomato and propagate a tomato and save the tomato seeds and then times that by all the other things that we consume. If you don't have those skills very soon,
you could be in trouble.
You could be in there. There's where I think some of the prepping community falls a little flat because they don't have the skills.
And yeah, they have the seeds,
but they don't have the skills. I'm going to leave that one there too.
And that's very loosely based because we follow some amazing preppers that have the skills. Amazing.
Yeah, yes. That's the other thing about protecting the livestock. Well, and vegetables too, right? Because your stores and stuff. Perfect timing for the Canadian Seed Challenge. We are looking for videos. Yep. We've been checking, so we'll catch it when it comes up.
And like we said with the Canadian Seed Challenge, because there are still a few Canadians in here, but definitely, humbly ask for what you would like, and also to mention if you really are, want to be surprised and whatever, then say that too, because some people like that.
I'm going to say just to make sure I didn't mess up what I was saying about the plant-based stuff. What I mean by that is I don't buy the plant-based alternative meat substitutes. But what I'm saying is it's
making dishes that don't
raising squash and having squash and potatoes and beans and all those other things that you can raise yourself be probably 75% of your diet. Somewhere between 50 and 75% of your diet's probably not a bad idea. If for no other reason, then that's a little more manageable than being really meat heavy.
Yeah. One thing we discovered this year, which we'd never tried before, we made, and I'm pretty sure it might have been Crucy that talked about it.
Harvey Black saying General Mills to raise prices by 20%.
Wow, that's high. Holy cow. I can't remember if it was Crucy that mentioned the eggplant or whether somebody in our live had said that they were making eggplant curry. And we said, okay, we'll try it. Made it, absolutely loved it. Yes. No meat involved whatsoever. And we made it It replaced a meal a week all summer,
Mhm.
and we just didn't consume meat. And it wasn't that we were trying to replace the meat with something that was supposed to be fake meat.
No, it's just
It was
good.
just we didn't put meat in. We didn't need to. And that was sort of, I think, what you were getting at, in that you can eat a bit
You're-
more of that sort of style.
Well, and I'm very much of the opinion I don't buy that you can have a homestead without the animals, because they bring a lot to the table. They use a lot of things that you can't use, and some of them, like Jan was saying with the sheep, they're not competing with you because they're eating grass,
Yeah.
which you would otherwise in today's society be mowing.
Yeah.
So they're producing you something that you can eat, and potentially more. It's like chickens. They're eating bugs. They're eating rotten vegetables. They're
Mhm.
producing you eggs and meat. We're not going to go to the calculation, but the amount that we got back from our chicken flock in eggs and meat from a protein perspective is
Yeah.
substantial.
Yeah.
We're just saying you probably need to find that balance. It's kind of, I guess, where I'm going.
But the perk of growing it yourselves is, if you don't want the balance, you don't have to.
Well, if you can support
but
them.
Basically, the situation is that, as we see in the grocery store, there's no, like, we went and looked. There's no way I could afford to eat meat like what we do. No way. I mean, we eat a lot of meat. But I mean, when you put that into a dollar value, there's no way I could buy that.
We have sheep, Chris's Clever Craft.
Yes.
Quite a few of them. Well, that's not bad that they're actually going on sale, to potatoes.
Yeah.
But potatoes are a great example, right? Because a lot of people don't grow, or a lot of people in our area stop growing potatoes because they're like, they're cheap. But what if they're not?
Yeah.
That's kind of the basic of prepping.
That was the thing for us, right? We always kind of went on that theory of onions, carrots, potatoes. They always get cheap. We'll just buy some more when they get cheap. And then same thing with butter. Butter always gets cheap, right? Fall time into Christmas. And then it stopped getting cheap. It didn't. Like this year, the cheapest I've seen carrots is, I think, $2.99 for a 5-pound bag. And normally you can get a 10-pound bag for a couple bucks.
Red in the Valley's got a thing about meat source and dairy farms that don't keep bull calves. I'm not going to share some of my thoughts on cows. I think cows have to be.
That's a very good roundtable discussion.
That's a roundtable discussion
because it can get
It gets, I think, a bit deep, but
yeah.
But yes, there's tons of meat there. Essentially.
Yes.
I think I'm catching up. Whoa, I'm way behind.
It's jumped. You jumped and got to her one.
Behind.
But anyway, sorry.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we did that one.
We did that one. We want to try growing peanuts again too. I've grown them in the past. There you go. Red and Valley is going to send a letter.
Yes, that's cool.
That works.
Fine and dandy.
They flipped that. The store stuff. I think you talked about that before, Cruci.
Yeah.
Who's going to request bacon seeds? Unfortunately, we got rid of all our bacon seeds, but there was reasons for that.
Yes, no bacon seeds.
Not for us, anyways.
Plant-based sausages. I don't eat pork anymore, but I love sausages. Didn't you do a video or something, that was in your live? You were talking about them, about the sausages actually being surprisingly good. The no meat or Beyond Meat sausages. Not that I'm, but curious. What was it? The other thing? I am an avid butter person. I love butter. We can't make our own butter right now because we don't have milk being produced on the farm. So today we make grilled cheese sandwiches, totally healthy. And instead of butter, I used the goose lard. I know that's so healthy. That just sounds like
but it is
heart attack waiting to happen. But anyways, put the lard down in the pan and then cook the thingy in it instead of butter. It was amazing. And I was a doubter. And I know we haven't put up our goose video because it had problems and we have to butcher another goose in order to refilm the video. But we did cook it whole and we saved all the lard and unbelievable. So
But
now
it's
the geese have gone to a whole nother level for us.
It's grass-based fat, though, right?
Yep.
So I think this is the one thing for me about the meat discussion too, and I think where I didn't articulate it, you need to get the most you can possibly get out of the animals, and like Cecile's saying, um, the last part, the value of not wasting,
Mhm.
and it doesn't matter whether it's animals or plants. Like you should have very, very, very little to no waste
Yeah.
at the end of it.
I have to move in closer again.
If nothing else, you're
on me.
composting
There
it,
we are.
right?
As soon as I move back by you, I go blurry again.
Yeah, I don't know
Oh,
why
well.
that is.
Oh yeah, Jane had asked about generators. We just have what is ours?
Ours
Ours
is
is
a little gas-powered one.
Yeah, it's not a.
It'd be neat to get one that you could run off. Solar's something I'd be interested to look into. We need to look into the alternative stuff. That's a shortcoming.
Well,
for
we
us.
need to have a backup. I don't think we could go off grid. It feasibly wouldn't make sense because hydro doesn't cost us that much and it's already here. But I would like to have a backup so that if hydro disappeared.
But Jan's got a good point too about the animal thing, right? You have things that put back into the homestead.
Yeah.
And the geese is a good example because geese are, I very much am this way. Geese are the epitome of an old timey common folk livestock that everybody had and nobody paid any attention to. They weren't glamorous, they weren't whatever, but you look at all the multitude of paintings and whatnot. They're always in the background. They were everywhere.
They were just there.
And they were everywhere because they are the only bird that can produce you the meat, the down, and the fat off of nothing.
That could be more show and tell. We still have 14 people in here. Where's my pillow?
I don't know where.
Oh, it's right there. Is. I'll go get it.
Are you gonna grab it?
Yeah.
Meat, veggies, and berries are gross.
I do like show and tell.
I do agree. Sorry, it's gone down a bit on me here. Yeah, definitely. I think lard is healthy depending on what the animal was eating, right? It's the same as the meat, which goes into some of the questions about, or not questions, but some of the comments about, like Jane said, your nutrition from the meat, eggs, and veggies and berries you grow is so much better. Yeah, exactly. And that would be the case for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a way to turn off the autofocus. We haven't figured it out yet because we're not that tech savvy, but we will certainly be trying to figure that out before the next live, because it is kind of weird.
And why has it chosen you to be the focal point?
I don't know.
I mean, boy, oh boy.
It likes me.
It does.
You're looking at microhydro, small. That actually sounds pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. We have wind all the time here.
I would like to go back to figuring out the windmill type scenario for water pumping. I know it can be done, but
put a well at the back of the property so we don't have to carry the water.
You need 35 kW solar array where you live to go off grid. Oh, that's interesting. It's something I really need to do more research
on.
And yes, actually, Cecile's got another good point about geese. They are excellent watchdogs compared to some livestock. They don't necessarily do anything except for make a lot of noise about whoever's there who's not supposed to be.
But they do let you know. And surprisingly, a lot of people, I'm not saying that they could defend your homestead or from marauders or anything else, but a lot of people that you talk to, a lot of people are terrified of geese, which is funny. Like,
don't find them that terrifying.
No,
don't
but a lot of people, it's like, I won't get out of a house. I won't get out of my car at a house that a dog's loose. I've had bad experiences with dogs and I just won't. I'm like, I don't know that dog. It doesn't know me. I'm not getting out. Right. And a lot of people are the same way about geese, especially if they see 12 of them running towards them in the car. It's like, start the car for a total different reason. Yeah.
Jan's doing up her lard tomorrow to put in the freezer, which is awesome. I'm going to go to Chris's Clevercraft too. I think I have heard that about lamb. Goat is supposed to be another one that's very healthy, but we're big fans. If you have the space, sheep. If you have the grazing space,
Mm-hmm.
sheep are amazing.
And they don't, and they're so easy on the pasture.
But not always necessarily the most enjoyable. But
they have the moments, but every animal
they're
does.
Extremely productive if you're going to use the products that they give you. Okay, Drops is giving us some advice too.
15 and 25 panels. Okay, we'll have to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah, and we definitely want to look into the water thing too, because that's kind of a big one, right? You have the well, but you need to get the water out of the well. You need to keep that going.
Mm-hmm.
Be rich. Instead of windmill, they'd be rich. Geese are funny because I think a lot of it they can be aggressive, but they also know who they can push around. They learn that they're. I'm not going to say they're brilliant by any means, but I think they're a little more intelligent than some poultry, at least more aware of what's going on around them.
Yeah. Property, yes. Yeah. Well, hopefully there will be some sort of correction, because I don't know out your way, Jane, but around here it's amazing what they want for property. Mm-hmm. Although I will say, it's obviously started to kind of, it's not coming down, but it's plateaued, because I mean, people were selling stuff before they even put a sign up, and now I'm seeing stuff sitting. Yeah, it's sitting, and I know we're coming into winter, which is not buying season for most people, but if people want to move it, they're going to have to move on the price, because I think, I mean, there's been 3 or 4 that we drive by on a regular basis that have been up for a month and a half now, give or take a bit, and not moved. And I mean, like, nice, decent yards. I mean, they cut the grass and that sort of stuff. I'd say they're probably 1.5 acres, maybe 2 acres. That kind of thing. The big thing farms aren't sticking around. Like, bigger farms are gone in up. You don't even get a chance. They're getting bought up
in a land grab, though.
I think so. Yeah.
The big thing I would say, advice I give to anybody when you're looking, Jane, just make sure whatever minute, because you're in Ontario as well, whatever municipality you're in, make sure they don't
check their bylaws.
Check their bylaws, because if you're getting into chickens, there's a lot of municipalities that don't allow it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get 2 or 3 years or 4 or 10 years in and have it be like, hey, you can't have this.
Yeah, we had.
That's why we moved.
Our old place, we had our one plot of land that had our house on was only 1.89 acres. So it was not big enough to have chickens. Even though all of our neighbors had chickens, we lived in a dairy farming area. It was nope. Mm-hmm. So, and you would think 2 acres, I mean, gosh, for years we had horses on that and nobody complained.
But that's where the bylaws aren't written for it to be practical.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that, which goes into that other discussion about nobody's really got your interest. I like geese too.
Sheep can smell fear?
I don't know if ours can, although the Icelandics are kind of weird. And Drops, an aggressive rooster.
I think a ram can smell fear.
Potentially. Yeah, they know when you're not comfortable.
They know when you're not comfortable, and that's when they attack.
They're not smelling fear, they're reading body language, which is what geese do too.
But your body language is fear.
I'm going to do a video.
You're blocking your...
Yeah, I'm going to do a video on the goose thing, the body language and moving them around. Because I was thinking about that when we were talking about just things that we do. It's funny. Like, I'll get you to film me and I can show
the moving of
how you can move them around just by changing subtle little things in your body language. But yeah, nasty aggressive roosters.
They don't last here.
We eat them.
Yes, we do not keep any aggressive ones, but that's something that we're trying to breed is a more.
Well, we've just been selecting,
and the breed is known to be very docile. The rooster taming trick? Is that we watched a video on that somewhere.
Was it the one where you
what'd they do to it?
No, is that the one where you make them focus on something? Is that the one?
Yeah, you put your finger between there's something. There was something I remember watching something on that. Push the rooster down. Oh, maybe not. That's not the one we watched, but okay. I remember something.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Jan's saying about ordering the meat birds. Did you order like the broiler type Cornish crosses? because I imagine the price on them is going to keep going up.
Yeah. Well, my parents work at a hatchery, and they have commented on the prices going up. Just crazy.
I'll say it as a tidbit. Don't fool yourself in thinking that the hatcheries aren't all owned by the same people.
Oh, well, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, they won't allow hens.
Yeah.
Some municipalities will let you have like 6 hens but no roosters, which is still great because even in like aren't in Kingston, aren't they allowed to have chickens?
It just depends on the
It depends on the area of Kingston, but you can have a little 1/8 acre lot and have your hens and your eggs. Is it sustainable? No, but it's certainly moving in the right direction to help provide and take the pressure off the system.
I have heard of what Harvey Black's saying about, because I've actually used that on geese too.
Yes.
I don't like doing it because I'd rather not have geese that are complete jerks. But if they're a little too aggressive in the off season, you just do the same thing. You just kind of pin them down and do that once or twice. They won't test you again because they don't like it. You can pick them up too, but the only thing with geese is if they're really nasty, they can still bite your face. But you just put them backwards so they can't reach you.
Yes. In the GTA prison. Plowman's had one on rooster taming. I didn't see that one. I'll have to go back and watch
check that out.
Yeah. To be honest, we've never had, we've only ever, the whole time we've had chickens, I think there's only ever been the one bad one that would come at us in the barn.
I've only had, in my entire time with them, I've had 2 roosters. We had the one recently and one in the past, and I've had 2 or 3 hens. And not broody, they just were nasty, but none of those stayed. The jumbo Cornish cross.
Brighton's a nice area, Jane. Yeah. Moving into that area, that's where we turned to go get ponies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, really
nice
pretty area there. That's got all the apple farms, isn't it?
There's some to the south. Yeah. Yeah, Brighton's quite nice. And kind of that whole surrounding area in the Northumberland Hills.
Oh, you even bid on something. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Not awesome that you were the highest bidder, but still,
no, but that you actually.
But you're finding some stuff that might work. Yeah.
But yeah, like what Drops is saying, he's outside an area where he's allowed to have it. That's a big thing. Like,
yeah.
Well,
here in Ontario, even some areas to go into actual hoofed livestock, you have to have 10 acres. Mm-hmm. Like Athens has that rule. Mm-hmm.
So you're up to $106 US for 30? That's a lot.
Well, that's $3. What's that? $350 a chick. That's US, so that'd be $425.
Yeah, but when you tack that on
Canadian
to the feed cost.
Yeah. Here they were. Well, my mom was saying that they would gone up to almost $6
for turkeys.
No, turkeys were $8. She was talking about the chicks that the same hatchery sells.
Oh, okay.
And they were six something, which was just crazy.
Oh, good. Eldan's chickens are laying.
Yay!
The partridge chroniclers have started.
Ah, that's awesome. We got we've got two of our young ones from the one group. They are starting to lay as well. I get the occasional egg. I did have 2 frozen ones, which kind of sucked, but
it happens.
Yeah, but that's awesome. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the chickens and that they're working for you. And I'm sure, well, I guess we've had some crazy weather. They really haven't had to experience the cold weather yet, but no. They'll do just fine. Trust us. They are a hardy breed. They'll keep going. You have to be really in tune to get the eggs before they freeze, but they're still doing what they're supposed to do. So,
but that's great. But yeah, it's I don't know. It really makes you think what's actually sustainable, because I think that's another thing too, right? Money is you exchange money for time and resources. So
yeah. 10 acres to be an actual registered farm. Okay, yeah.
Yes. I did know about that. And you have to have, you also have to gross, I think it's $8,000 now.
Is it? Or is it 7? I
It
can't
was
remember. Anyways,
7. I think it's 8 now.
yeah. You need to have a certain amount anyway.
But then when you get into the municipal bylaws, whatever municipality you're in, they sometimes still, like the one we were in was mostly rural. There was no cities.
Mm-hmm.
And they still under, was it 2.5? You said
You had to have a hectare.
No, you had to have more than a hectare. Because we had, it was more than a hectare. It was, anyways, you had to have a certain size. And the way the bylaw was written, you get this, in the list, so you couldn't have livestock, but you weren't allowed to have a garden or a greenhouse or grow fruit trees or process any agricultural products. That was literally how it was written.
The bylaw. Technically, you couldn't do anything.
And when it was brought up in the council meeting, they basically said, well, yeah, but we're not going to enforce those other things. But they're on the books.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to watch.
So we moved. And now we're much happier and
we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's one less thing to worry about. You know,
Yeah.
20 acres to be a farm in Georgia. No caps here to be registered here. Well, that's kind of good. That
yeah, that's pretty good.
It's it's just something to keep in mind, right? Especially if you are moving, what the local stuff is. You kind of think it doesn't matter, but until it does.
Mm-hmm. But it's something, and to be honest, we never even looked into it. We never worried about it. We just did what we were doing.
But it's a great example of how the powers to be made a law on the books. It's a bylaw, municipal bylaw, but a law on the books that basically prohibited people from doing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking in a city. I get it if you were downtown Toronto.
Yeah, this was rural.
That. This was rural.
So, anyways, that's our vent about our old life. Now we have a new life.
Yep.
Which we share with everybody.
Well, it's not completely new. It's kind of the same, just in a different spot.
Just different location, and we managed to. It's working way better here, though. You have to. I mean, everything is just
dynamic,
falling into place, and it could be also our mindset because we didn't realize we. The pillow. So I brought. Did you like how I stopped mid-sentence there? So we started with this pillow here, which is as goose feathers are flying out of it. It is one of the IKEA. What do you call those surrounds? You put it around a pillow, but it has a zipper on it. So I filled that with the goose down, and I'm going to run it through the washing machine. But we also have a bag, which isn't going to show well. I wonder if I can open it without making a mess.
No, it'll make a mess.
I can try. I'll try. This, I don't know any other geese. My parents had geese, but we never did anything with them. They were guard geese. The American buff, watch, all these feathers are going to come flying out. I just know it. American buff have amazing down, and so much of it. This bag,
careful,
I'll hold it up here. This bag came off of one goose.
No, you got some off the other one, but not
barely
much.
any. They saw the video. It didn't work off the other one, but it is amazing. I'm gonna try and see if I can take out a handful to demonstrate without making too much mess. Hold steady. Is it gonna focus? Do you think it'll focus? You tell me if it's focusing.
Won't focus, I don't think. Oh, kind of.
Kind of, but it is unbelievably wonderful.
Now you have it all over your hand.
I know, but we're almost done. The one thing that I find interesting is I don't love goose down that we buy, pillows that we buy in the store, because I always find the little feathers come out. When you're picking it off of your own geese, look at all the feathers flying around. Big mistake. Anyways, that would be the one downfall to it, is trying to figure out how to deal with it. But you can actually pick that beautiful fine down. I'm so pumped to try and make a duvet, a down-filled duvet.
Eventually you would.
Oh, and it just feels like, I know it's all floating around, but
it's all over your hand.
but it is so luxurious. just like what Red in the Valley said, it feels like amazing.
But that's the thing about the geese.
I'm just not sure how to get it from point A to point B from the bag. See, I only had one pillow because I didn't think we were going to need more than one.
It's one of those things you're going to lose some.
Oh yeah,
which is fine.
Our yard looks like.
Oh, it doesn't look that bad.
It looks like snow sometimes when we get going on them. But anyways, this one here, I want it to be thicker than this. Like it's you can see it's quite poofy. Right? Like there's my hands. It's quite poofy. But I want it to be a little bit thicker so that when your head's on it, it doesn't completely collapse down to nothing. But I'm just not sure because I have to put it through the washing machine and that washes the down and then transfer it to a proper quilted bag that I'm going to hopefully make, which I do want to do a video on. Even though it's my first time, I'm going to take people along for the ride as I totally make errors.
Yeah, Canadian Peaches is saying
dampen them. Yeah.
Well, eventually we do have to wash them.
Well, yeah, that's what I put them in this little zipper thingy, and what I'm going to do is pin the clips so that it definitely can't open in my washing thing, and then wash them. Now, one thing said to just do it in your bathtub, and you just step all over it and wash it and rinse it, and then let it dry. Another thing said that you could just throw it through the washing machine in this bag. I don't know if I 100% trust that.
That bag, I don't know.
But anyways, watch this space. We're going to figure it out. But that's pretty cool because basically not even three geese, that's 2.5 geese, we'll say, would make you a really, really plush pillow for sleeping, like a proper size bed pillow.
And if you keep growing them, you keep collecting it.
Which I'm kind of, I'm floored by this and very intrigued because I mean, for a high quality down-filled pillow, and I'm just going to pick on IKEA because that's the only place I've ever looked for them. But it was $86 for the top quality one. And they went downgraded from there, right? Which, of course, I've never bought more than the $28 pillow, which is why I whine and complain about all the pokey feathers, because the less quality, the more they put in the filler feathers. So we're able to actually go out and just select the top quality feathers or down. So, I mean, this thing feels like I can push on it and I can put my head on it and there is not anything poking. It is beautiful. I'm super excited.
Well, eventually, Chrissy's comment's funny.
What's up?
The yard looks like a goose murder site.
somewhat, because the feathers, they fly everywhere. It's down. It just floats up into the air and then comes down. So,
but I think Red in the Valley's got a good point too. Eventually, we're going to make stuff to do this in. This was just kind of the proof of concept.
Yeah, this was just how much are we going to get? And I was absolutely floored that we got that much down off of them. And I mean, nice down. Like you wanted to take more of the other filler feathers, and I kind of was like, no, I don't want to.
Well, some of you do want a percentage of them.
Yeah.
But you don't want, once they get beyond the small curved body feathers or contour feathers, you don't want that. But what was I gonna say? But that's a great example, right? It's like it's work, yes, but at the same time, if you do it for years and years and years, and you just keep collecting, you end up with so much product. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and if you store it right, I'm going to say it doesn't really go bad. It can, but if you store it right, it doesn't. So
yeah. Well, I definitely want to. I've already done the video up to this point where, we took the down off and we were bagging it. So then I'm going to do one that it'll all be one video, but I'm going to take this now and wash it and then dry and process it into the pillow.
Mark the Hunter.
Which I'm kind of excited to do. I do have to look up. I want to do a quilted pillowcase. Like a homemade quilted one.
Which is another skill, right?
I know, it's another, And unfortunately, I can't make the fabric. I mean, I could if I bought the stuff to weave it, but I'm not going to.
No.
There's a line of how much time we actually have. But yes. Anyways, it'll be really nice to have a high quality. Like it's one of those silly things, and I mean, it's like Red in the Valley was saying about loving her duck down pillow, and I've never splurged. Like it's just something I would never have owned in my life. Expensive down filled coat or comforter or pillow.
Until
And
you start
now,
processing
well,
geese.
now it's somewhat of a byproduct, right? It's no different than what we view the fleece on the sheep. That's not the main reason that we have those animals. So it's a secondary product. Yet I can get something extremely valuable out of that. And it's something that I would never splurge on myself.
Valuable in a practical application
Yes.
for us, not valuable.
No. I mean, you couldn't earn enough money for all the work that goes involved. It's no different than the knitting and things like that. It's the same type of thing. You know, your money, you don't get reimbursed for your time. That's for sure.
But I don't know. That's the thing about the animals. The more you can get out of them, the better.
But yeah, it's Baba's Penina. Huh.
Also, Jan had to throw out her feather pillow.
But
and then like Red in the Valley said, it's 25 plus years old, so it's lasted for a long time.
I know I've got some. I should do a thingy at some point on the quilts that we have. We have trunks and trunks because my great grandmother quilted, my grandmother quilted, then I quilted.
You've got a couple you need to repair.
I have some that need repairing, and you know, there's some that are. Oh, like Alex, it makes me cry every time she goes into. She loves the first quilt that my grandmother ever made me. I was 1 year old, so it's 41 years old, and parts of it are in really rough shape, but she loves it. So I've got to do some repair work on it. But there is something about those old quilts, and they're comfort things in a way, in my opinion, anyways.
Tiny house. It definitely sounds like you've put quite a bit of thought into it, Jane, which is good.
Yeah.
For many, many years.
Cats are playing with golf balls. My grandparents are old. That's why they comfort me. There is something about the knowledge and things that are there to pass on too. I mean, that's the part that we need to make sure that we keep. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in, Mark the Hunter, and finding us and whatnot. I'm not sure where we haven't obviously checked your channel out yet, but we certainly will.
Yeah, we'll go through and check things out after. Don't give him any ideas. You'd love those.
I don't know. That would have to be the nice stuff, though.
Yeah.
Big pillows.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to have one of those.
Yeah.
Eventually we could.
Eventually, because my thoughts are, because you can make, I say you can make these quilts, and they were just a white quilt both sides, and it had a lot of hand quilting on it. And what I'm thinking is, if I made the white quilt but didn't put the batting in the middle, and you just stitch the pattern in straight strips, all you have to do is put the down into the strips, and then you would just seal it up. That's my thoughts.
I think that would potentially work.
Yeah. But that's a longer term project, because I'm guessing that you would need at least probably 15 geese to fill a duvet.
But eventually we probably are going to have that or more. So, but
it is something anyways. It's just another amazing secondary byproduct that comes out of the livestock, and like the sheep with the fleece is just incredible. And this spring we're going to start milking them, which will be very interesting. Again, watch the space because it's coming. Well, anything that's double or triple or more purposes worthwhile having on the animal front. Needlepoint on quilts is very nice too. Yeah. Have you done that? I can cross stitch. I don't do is it petty point? It's the prettier one. Or embroidery. I don't do that, but I do know how to cross stitch. But that's something that never really stuck for me. doing that sort of stuff. I really love quilting, knitting. Now I'm really into the crocheting. And then I always did the art painting, which is really not a survivalist type thing, but it was very enjoyable to do. But
And sometimes enjoyable things you
Yeah.
still have to do as well.
exactly. But
Mhm.
but on that note, we should probably wrap this up. We've been almost 3 hours.
That's
It's been an
crazy.
amazing chat though, guys. Honestly, this
crazy.
has been fantastic. Mine's underwater or rained on too much all summer. In the west, they're to your thingy. Yeah,
Okay.
but you need to be able to pounce on it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing that around here on property, it just seems like you don't even know it's for sale and it's already sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. But JoJo's Outdoors. I do not recognize your channel, but thank you very much for coming in. And it certainly, if somebody wants to check that out and potentially put the link. But
I think, like you say, I think we're going to call it a night. And this has been, we've covered, as usual, a ton
broad
of different
thing of
stuff.
topics. So
And I think the idea of visiting some more targeted lives in the new year is definitely something to make happen.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully everybody has a great rest of the week.
Yes. Have a great night and great rest of the week. We'll see everybody next week again, 8:30. As we approach the C word.
Oh, we're getting close to the end of the year. That is for sure.
But yes, have a great night, Jan, and everybody else, and we will speak to you next week. Bye for now. Thanks so much.
Good night, everyone.